Well, that was interesting. That is a tune brought to you by Pretzel.rocks. If you didn't know, it's royalty-free music you can use during streaming. There's also other platforms like that offer those sorts of things. So not our normal starting soon music that sounds like the beginning of a bump, 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 right? So forgive me for that. Tried to do something a little different, but shout out to everybody who's with us. As you can see, I am sporting my Armenia Eagles shirt, and my Armenia Eagles won because if you missed the memo, Armenia won the Pro Chess League. And given that was the last time I was streaming chess to those who somehow accidentally decided to watch it, it was to watch Armenia win and celebrate their Pro Chess League championship. So today's biggest ever Title Tuesday is dedicated to you guys, the Armenia Eagles. Here we go. They gave me this shirt too. There you go. Can you see the whole thing? There you go. All right. Cool. All right. Shout out to everybody who's hanging out with us in the chat. We've got a whole bunch of people already signed up, as you can see here. Chess Bay, Celebethel, Chess.com, Simon, everybody who's here. Thank you for being here. Thanks for tuning in to the Title Tuesday today. We're hoping that everybody and their cousin, if they accidentally got a title, even if FIDE, didn't want to approve it, make sure you show up and play in today's event. I always seemed more like a panda to you. Thanks, Celebethel. Yeah, I'm going to take that as a compliment. I think, yeah. But shout out to everybody in the Chess TV chat, also following the action there. Leela03, UNC07, Queen's Night Out, everybody who's here. If you have just joined, then you're aware that you're getting ready for the Title Tuesday along with me. If you've been watching for a while, those of you who are just joining us from Lawrence Trent's Blitz Brawls, appreciate you sticking around. So, all right, today's Title Tuesday, $5,000 cash prize, but also if you somehow are just set up to stream in the next 3 minutes, you can also win prizes just for streaming and commentating on it. That's the first time we've ever done that, to provide cash prizes for anybody who is not able to play in the Title Tuesday, but interested in streaming and providing their own commentary. You can stick with me right here at the official channel here at Twitch TV/chess, or you can go and choose your own adventure or even start your own stream. What's up? Everybody saying hey. I can see you in the chat. You can see that I can see you in the chat. Shout out to all of our subscribers, everybody who's here supporting chess. Really appreciate it. All right, well, we've got some big names here, right? I mean, the obvious list here. You've got Dmitry Andreikin. You've got some others here at the normal list of who's who when it comes to these Title Tuesdays. Francisco Vallejo Pons. Shout out to Paco. That, of course, is Sergei Gregorians. We got Fedoseev. You got Georg Meyer. You got Lanier Dominguez. Zavin Andreasen, of course, we have to shout out to that guy. That's literally the man who won the game that brought Armenia the Pro Chess League championship. So shout out to Andrasian. Andrasian. And just getting ready, getting set, everybody. Getting set, getting ready. I'm live early. What do you guys want to talk about? I don't know what to say. The tournament doesn't start for another 5 minutes. At some point here, I'm going to have to drop out because I'm registered. I think I'm registered right now. Yeah, I need to make sure I don't get paired in the first round. We're not interested in whether Danny can win a few games while he streams. That's not what people came to see. We came to analyze and discuss the performances of the best players on the planet. Danny, why do you have 2 Chess.com accounts? That's against the rules. First of all, I have a lot more than 2, but thanks for noticing. Thanks, the co-pilot. I don't know if Magnus is playing. I could open up some Skype here and see if anybody's online that I could. Jan Nepomniachtchi asking me if he can play from his iPhone. I think so. I don't know, honestly. Nepo. Darn it, Nepo. Darn it, Nepo. Nepo, I don't know that he'll get back to the computer. But there we go. There he is. He can. He just registered at the top. That's Nepomniachtchi. So apparently you can play tournaments. About time Chess.com gets their bleep together on the iOS app. I think a lot of people are going to be playing and streaming this event today. We have extra prizes, not just the $5,000 in cash prizes for the performers, but there's additional cash prizes for those who stream, as well as secret contracts I can't discuss, motivating others that maybe want to play and stream. Let's hope that they do. By motivation, I mean lollipops, okay, and hugs from Danny. You ever had a virtual hug from Danny? Everybody, come on, let's lean in. Virtual hug. Ready? Come on. We're doing it. Is it the awkward hug? Like, do I pat you? Is my hand too low? Like, what's going on here, right? So, okay, there's a lot of people streaming. I'm checking out the chess chat. We got the Chess Bros live. We've got Hammer live. We've got Lawrence Trent, who I think is just going to roll right into the Title Tuesday. Good for him. Not sure who else is going to be showing up. Hikaru will not be playing. He said he's got a photo shoot. But Maxime just told me he's going to play. Look for MVL to jump on. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, if you don't know him, he is the Frenchman with 3 names, and he's one of my favorite people on the planet. If you don't know Maxime personally, don't know, he's just, everybody roots for Maxime. His opponent roots for him. That's how much of a sweetheart and how amazing Leon Beast is. I don't see Leon Beast in the event yet, but he told me, there he is, number 15. Wow, these events have gotten strong. That's Gatakomsky right there, Holmes. These Title Tuesday events have gotten strong. MVL is up in the hizzy. He's not even in the top 10 here as far as people you can see. That's how crazy strong it is. He's number 16 right now on the list. That's always fun. Just checking on some business, making sure everything is set on a technical level. Moment of truth. Making sure my whole team is ready. What's up, Colin Clark? What's up, everybody who's here? Thank you for being here. I should probably go back over to our main analysis setup. That was a sub right there. Somebody just subbed and I missed it. Who was it? Kirkwood Chess just subscribed. A 1-year anniversary? What? Way to go, Kirkwood. Do you work for Chess.com? No, I'm kidding. That's his own support, by the way. Like, nobody you see is they love chess. That's one of the cool things about our company is everybody who's there pretty much loves to play chess. So, where's Fabiano? I'm not going to say the second one. I don't know where Fabi is. Doesn't look like Fabi's going to be here, but we got 360. We're already at the record level of Title Tuesday. This is the most we've ever had. We had this level, and then some things happened. So, I did not see the picture of Frank Marshall, but thanks for giving me the heads up. All right, well, we're gonna get set here for the Title Tuesday to begin. I am going to withdraw at the last second, and then bring the event back up to make sure that I do not get paired. How nervous am I right now? I'm pretty nervous. Honestly. 370 players. Not a lot of time for the games to begin. You saw I was sweating. I mean, the good thing is this. If the tournament crashes, at least I'm here to deal with it, and I can take the heat from fans who went out of their way to be here, and I'm not, subjecting Amon or Eric to this shenanigans. But I think we've worked really hard. Our live chess server team has gotten on top of a lot of things that we've been doing in an inefficient manner as our server has grown. Right now, there are 40,000 people in live chess, if you didn't know that. There are 40,000 people in live chess right now. And from what I can see, the games are beginning. And we have liftoff. The Title Tuesday will happen. Shout out to everybody who's just worked so hard for us to really right the ship. We have more than 40,000 people in live chess right now. All of them are going to be getting some sort of notification that if they want to tune in the title Tuesday, they can. But okay. All that matters for all of you and me is that we are here to analyze and see what happens. Nepomniachtchi looking to bounce back. Right? Remember, thanks for that question, Sella Bethel. The 2018 Speed Chess Championship will be announced very, very soon. I already have 7 players confirmed and working on some other last-minute logistics in regards to the format, but the Speed Chess Championship will be announced very, very soon. All right, so who do we got there? We've got Nepomniachtchi. I'm going to make sure that I also follow, of course, Dmitry Andreikin, who has also started with the black pieces. I got to make sure I follow the one, the only Danya Naroditsky. Let's make sure we got him on our radar. I can't be wearing an Armenia Eagles shirt without following the hero of Armenia, Zavin Andreasyan. So we got him. It's funny, at this point, it's like such a who's list of just top grandmasters. I have no idea who to follow and take a gamble of who's gonna have it today. But of course, I'm also gonna get involved and make sure that Leon Beast is on our radar, as all of you would also like me to do. So I'm following some of the top grandmasters in the event right now. And if, as the event rolls on, any of you feel that I need to tune into somebody else, just you say the word. And I'll give you the bird. Just kidding. The bird's the word. The bird is the word, if you haven't heard. And we're going to focus on the analysis of this game right now between Leon Beast. Actually, do we want to follow this one? Maybe the analysis of Nepomniachtchi is actually getting a little more interesting. Let's check out this one here. So, I love imbalances. For those of you who've ever followed or watched any of my videos, I apologize. But I do like the immediate thing. I recognize the 3-on-1, and then, of course, white has the big center potential, right? Because as you see, Nepo is just cruising up the board with this queenside majority. I think white probably needs to put this knight on b3. Okay, he goes back to f1. The issue is that now this knight on d7... Okay, one path we see very quickly, point out the greatest adventure. Okay, and I think Nepo's going for it. If you can bring the knight in, even if it doesn't make it all the way to a3, the knight operating behind your pawns is one of the best things you can do to have an effective majority. d5 is nice for white. International Master Almaty One Love. Almaty One Love. You know I'm bad with usernames. Shout out to the Eagles spam there. The Eagles emote spam. I see you want the leadership, or sorry, you want the leaderboard on the screen. In the early rounds, feedback noted, and I love that you guys care enough about this. I try to follow all the feedback, but in the early rounds, I'm not sure I really agree. I have also prepared a scene just like so, as you can see. And so certainly as we move on in this event and it becomes more and more interesting to us who is leading at the top, I promise you that we will have that. But right now I think early stages make it really fun for us to follow some of the chess games going on and try to learn something, okay? We're here to learn. We're here to learn. Rook e3. This guy's going to go all in on the king side. Something tells me that Andreikin didn't get the best Ruy Lopez, actually. Rokas 1-3. Not to say, okay, g6 seems fine. I think white plays rook g3 anyway. Yep, Rokas does it. And after the king moves, the knight probably falls back to e3. Unless I'm missing something. Okay, maybe if knight e3, Andreikin has knight takes e4. Is that possible? A discovery on the queen, and after bishop takes, that's why I said it was a discovery. We have queen takes h4. Is that possible? Thanks for tweeting the chess bra, the Marshall chess bra pick at me, Timothy. Appreciate that. So okay, we're gonna find out, obviously, right? As we get into this main position. No, so knight h5 is played, a more positional approach. The bishop will come to g7, fianchetto by hand, and I guess maybe Andreikin's doing better than I first thought. I think white will play g3 here to both attack the knight and protect it. And this is a super interesting journey. Look at this. The knight's going to come back to g5, and the rook on f3 is going to be trapped. Wow. So why didn't I like this initially when we went to it? I think I honestly evaluated quickly based on race principles. I was like, all right, white's bringing the noise. Like, black has sort of seen the counterplay come to a halt. You know, black doesn't want to trade here because that just makes more weaknesses. So sometimes the initial evaluation is based on like who's getting their counterplay faster, what their perceived desired goal is. But then you start looking at this position and you realize that black's moves are all very straightforward, and actually white has sort of overcommitted to the attack. And now Andreykin is really taking his time. Knight g4 might force the hand. Maybe Rokas trying to get away with one. Okay, but Andreykin's not going to let him do it. So it forces him to take, but I think that's fine. And now the question for Andreykin is, how do we regroup and eventually open up lines, right? Bring the bishop here. If you can, kind of complete your development, eventually get this rook to f8, and maybe try for f5. Something you might consider. Who are we talking about sending messages from bed? Yeah. I don't sleep enough. I'm actually working on it. I wonder about the new world that we live in. And all of us who have online jobs and are working nonstop, you really have to learn self-discipline on like emotional and mental health levels because your job never ends. And I actually don't know that I sleep as well as I should. So I'm working on that, actually. Thanks, Kirkwood, for outing my insomnia. Appreciate it, buddy. Yeah. Anyway, this is interesting and instructive. So I want to go to a game that's a little bit further along under time pressure, at least. That is the Beast of Lyon taking on a grandmaster. It's amazing when you get punished for not being north of 2850, because Lyon Beast, we know, is one of the best players in the tournament. It's Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. But he also doesn't have as high a rating as some of the other guys that we were just looking at, right? So when you're in the middle of the pack on a Swiss system, for those who don't know how the format works, you get paired to someone who's also closer to the middle of the pack, right? And so, he's actually playing a stronger first-round opponent in some ways, right? A GM, or maybe that's not true. Actually, high rating, no, that's actually not true. I was just looking at the title. Gannica's 21 actually isn't as active as he should be. The time control is 3 minutes plus a 2-second increment. Okay, so I think he'll just gobble the pawn now. Taking the pawn. Makes sense. We see the Chess.com what emoji there. I love Magnus's head. All right, rook e8 check is not an option, but queen d8 followed by rook e8. Here comes the mating net, and there's actually no checks against the white king, so that's a real problem for black. Maybe a devastating one. Okay, he plays there, but it's just mate in 2. Rook g8, or sorry, mate in 3. Isn't it? Rook g8, king up, rook h8, king g7. Oh, no, it's not mate. Because if you go all in with the queen, the king actually eventually gets out. So you have to be careful. If you go all in lines like this is where you can blow it. Now you're actually trapped, and there's issues on f2 coming. So this is a good instructive lesson. Shout out to Batter Bobcat 151. Thanks for the subscription for 5 months in a row to Twitch TV/chess. Wow. Okay. The queen comes back to d2, so MVL makes the smart decision and recognizes he actually doesn't have any kind of mating net. That's a mature decision that everybody in the chat can learn from, because very often in time scrambles, you lose these games by launching the mating nets kind of carelessly, assuming, all right, there's got to be something. That's the famous words of every chess player who then ends up blaming the universe, like they're a universal victim. Like, how was there not a mate there? How was I not winning, right? How many times have you said that? Raise your hand, you're guilty. How was I not going to win this game, right? But, very often you put yourself in a position to win by making disciplined decisions, and MVL does that here. He didn't go all in, on this mating net where he actually could have ran into some serious problems when eventually he runs out of checks. Okay, he does have queen d8 in the end, so maybe he has a draw at the very least, but that's a really instructive takeaway. Mature chess there from the one, the only, the Beast of Lyon. For those of you who are just joining us again, thanks for being here. International Master Danny Rensch. This is the Title Tuesday. There are still some games going, so I'm going to check those out and try to pull up another game for you guys. Let's we got the professor in the house, Yevgeny Tomaszewski. Okay, so here we go. We got his game. This one looks like it's just going to end up being a draw. Shout out to Jackie Swade for liking the commentary. Appreciate that. Let's focus in on this board here. Hey there, BJH. Appreciate you being here. Shout out to all of our moderators. The most amazing people on Twitch helping out with all of their favorite streamers. All right, well, it looks like Yevgeny is he's going to move the bishop here now. What? Yeah, so that's the idea. He wants to create an avenue we can actually push aggressively. I don't think he ever thought it was a draw. He was just doing the Russian schoolboy shuffle, as they say, right? Pretend to repeat moves. Shout out to BJH, who just subscribed again for 8 months in a row. Thank you so much. So now he can take and, oh, interesting, he pre-moved bishop d1. Pre-move fail, right? Classic pre-move fail. This white assuming that black is going to get a queen and he's ready to sack. Now, interestingly enough, I think this is one of those cases where black is actually still winning, even though, what do you normally observe here? Come on, you've learned from chess TV shows. I'm testing you. You're all my adopted students. The square here is the wrong color of the bishop, right? So if you could put this white king on the corner, despite being up a bishop and a pawn, this is actually a draw. But this is one of those cases where I think that the black king is perfectly shouldering. So Tomaszewski could have actually promoted, and there's no way for the white king to get back in time, right? This route is way too slow, and any other route I think also would have been shouldered by the king and the bishop guarding squares. So that's also another instructive takeaway there. He could have won even without that, but he chose not to. So, all right, let me pull up other games that are still in progress. Nope. Commentator's Curse. The legendary Josie Wales has just fallen. There is one more game still in progress here. Knight bishop mate, and the crowd goes wild. Armenian coffee. No, it's not Armenian coffee. It's just a cup from Armenia made for all the... Okay, look at this. This is amazing technique right here. If he pulls this off, that was the right approach. He's only a 2100 player. I say that in the best... No, I did say it in the critical way after that. That was a huge mistake. I made I said that he's only a 2100 player, which you know, I know sounded sort of hurtful at the time, and indeed it was. But the issue is that was a huge mistake, and it's probably going to cost him a draw. I'm going to try to pull up the analysis here of this other game, because I want to show you guys why that was such a huge mistake. Now I've got it. Let's go ahead and pull up the analysis board and show you what black was supposed to do back in this position. So this is a really good start. Okay, he did it right up till here. Okay, this is a really good start. The way you want to use the knight and bishop is the knight controls the opposite color square that the bishop controls, naturally, right? The king is sort of a piece that holds it together, and there you go. That's why this is really instructive, and the game is probably going to start, unfortunately, the next round. But I really want to show this, because this is darn it, what was his name? Cupid 11? I want to bring it up in the archive. The next round has started. I think his name was Cupid 11. If I remembered that username, I get credit for still having a chess memory. Yes, it was. That was just quick mental recap. So on this analysis board, I'm going to give you guys an instructive takeaway. This position here, getting the king into the opposite color corner, is actually the first step toward winning this endgame by force. So it took him a while to realize that. Unfortunately, it looks like he had many opportunities to start shuffling the king over. He eventually figures it out with the knight taking away this square. First tip, you can't mate the king by force in the opposite color corner of the bishop. So one of the mistakes that Cupid 11 made for the last dozen or so moves is he was trying to actually mate him in the opposite color corner. And unless they self-mate, unless they force-mate, there's no way to force it. So eventually, you have to come to this formation we're about to see here, where the knight leads the way. Okay, I actually made up a little rhyme for my students when I used to offer valuable services to the chess community, like 10 lifetimes ago, right? Haven't been doing that for a while, Danny. So when I used to give actually good advice, the knight leads the way, okay? The knight is the first person to take the square, right? You use the knight to guard the color that the bishop cannot. The bishop pushes the broom. I don't know, it's weird, right? It's like a push broom. You're just sort of pushing him, right, into the corner, right? And the king is actually designed to sort of be the trapper, right? You kind of come in the end and you trap them. In this position, knight e4 was the right move, all right? And what's counterintuitive is you have to be prepared to know that if they try to escape here, it looks scary, but they can't get out because this trap always exists at the end of the line, and black is easily winning. This is actually the faster way to mate because now you can really see how the king, knight, and bishop all work together. If they try to go back, you go here. Guess who goes the right at the last second? You do the push broom again, lead with the knight, and again we're going to see the same thing, just rinse and repeat. So back to this position here. When he played the move knight e4, his opponent went back to f1 and he went this way. Again, not recognizing that any attempt to stay in the wrong color corner is just a bad attempt. You lead the way with the knight, the king traps, and then the bishop kind of cleans up. Lead the way with the knight, the king traps, the bishop comes in and cleans up. Lead the way with the knight. Here you mate and mate. So, all right. I know you guys are like, all right, Danny, this is great, but I didn't sign up to learn chess today. I signed up to watch you on Twitch and troll you. Point taken, all right? All right, you're not interested in analysis. I get it. We all get it. Let's go back to analyzing the main game on the table. But for those of you who did enjoy that knight and bishop mate quick lesson, hopefully you appreciated that, and there you go. There's actually a YouTube video I did. That's so you know that it's not some shameless plug for a Chess.com premium membership. This is a free video that I did. It's on YouTube. If you look up knight and bishop mate Danny Rensch, I'm sure it'll come up. You can watch a more detailed breakdown of that if you're interested. What's up, Liam Shez? What's up, everybody? Thanks for I think I just saw some bits there. Thanks for the bits. Thanks, Jackie the Suede. Glad. All right. Positive feedback there for the knight and bishop mate. What do we got here? We've got an interesting Nepo deciding he's not going to castle. Now, for those of you who were with us from the beginning, Nepo sent a message to me. Nepomniachtchi, by the way, for those who don't speak Super GM nicknames. Nepomniachtchi, one of the best chess players on the planet. He will be back in the Speed Chess Championship this year. I will confirm that. Nepo pinged me on Skype right before the event started and asked if he could sign up on his iPhone. So he's playing somewhere in transit right now on his iPhone. So that's just an FYI. He's not at a desktop. Okay, so what's going on here? This is a weird position. He's opened up the king side. We've got the G file eventually to come down. A2000 following his game in Chess.com asked if Nepo will cross 3,000 today. And then he says, stay tuned to find out. That guy should have a chess TV show. Look at that. Will Nepo cross 3,000? Will the mystery of the missing G-pawn be solved? The rook to the G-file, followed by moving the bishop and a quick transition. This is what we call a battery designed for a mating net. This is what we should look out for. Here comes rook to G1, and if queen takes H4, he can actually just move the bishop because the knight is pinned to the king. Oh, even better, king F2, I didn't see that. That's how you use your king, boys. Look at that. King F2, rook takes G3, boys and girls. That's technique, right? Chuck Norris ain't got nothing on Nepomniachtchi. All right, so he's going to take this game. Let's check in on some of the other top players. Zavin Andreasyan, the hero of the Pro Chess League. The shirt that I'm wearing, when you catch a glimpse of me again at some point, you will see wearing the shirt that I was given by Artak Manukyan, the manager of the Eagles. Zavin Andreasyan won the biggest chess game of 2018 so far this year. Is that fair for me to say? No. I guess Fabiano Caruana clinching world championship candidacy is probably the biggest chess game of the year so far. But it's up there. It's top three. Andreasyan's win. All right. Well, this is actually an interesting one. If we go over here to the analysis board. Is black really any better here? He has rook a6, all right? Rook a6 both guards the d-pawn and prepares to push. But I don't know that Andreasen is really any better here. Knight f5, he's going to play king g6. He'd like to just rush the a-pawn ASAP. White decides I'm going to put a stop on that. a4 would be bad now because knight c3 just picks off that pawn, so be careful about that. Instead, he plays rook e8. Okay, maybe he has more winning chances than I thought. He should keep the knights on the board. I'm expecting knight to d4 or even knight h4. Rook e3, offering a rook trade. I didn't see that. If they trade, c4 falls. The other way to keep the knights on the board. The other white meat. Here comes rook takes c3. He has to do it. Rook takes e3, knight takes c3. Maybe white will sack the pawn, or maybe white will push. But there is no choice here. I don't know what he's thinking about. Okay, that's a bad move. Now he gives up the knight, and with it, the biggest issue is that black probably has a mating net that ensues. Yep, take with the rook, bring the rook around. Bring the rook back behind one of these pawns. Rook d3, followed by bringing up the h-pawn and a mating net to ensue against the white king. This is almost like the game Andreasen didn't win against Wang Yue. For those who followed the finals there was a weird rook and knight endgame. Okay, it ended up in a draw, so not exactly like that, but it reminds me of it, and Andreasen is going to go on to win. So who else amongst the world's top is still playing this round? We've got Dmitry Andreikin as white, about to finish the job against GM Cheyam. Hikaru didn't play today. He said he has a photo shoot. Fabiano didn't play either, but we did have a lot of top players get up in the action. For those of you just joining us, we've got right there Nepomniachtchi right near the top. Konovets, that's Sam Sevian. You've got Opari and Grigori. You've got a lot of people in here who we expect to do very well. All right. Andreikin is about to take this one home, so we're going to move on. Ooh, the game between Leon Beast. This is a scary one. Black has bishop d3 coming? No. Queen e3, threatening queen e1 check. In some positions, no. What is queen e3 threatening? Bishop f1. There's got to be some sort of idea here to get the queen and rook operating together. He's trying to go in through the back door. Maybe the queen comes back to b4 now. No? Okay. Apparently I have no ability to see how Maxime is trying to play this position, but that makes a lot of sense. It's queen a2 is mate on the next move. King up to b2, queen a3, the king comes up, and rook c7 is checkmate. That's schnazzy right there, right? Nothing like checkmating your opponent when they probably didn't see it coming. So that was an interesting attack there. I love keeping an eye on the a file. Part of the reason why black was really in control of the position, everybody, it's just bishop on g5, constantly taking away the escape square for the king. So very nice, very, very nice. All right, so we go back to the standings, and we see with Grandmaster Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, along with many others, still holding a 2-point lead. Here are some games that are still in progress. What's going on here? No, in this one, black just won. All right, that makes sense. Gotta Komsky. Gotta watch some Komsky. Let's check this one out. What's going on in this position? We've got Komsky is white, taking on FIDE Master Rakul. He's on the prowl, that tiger. The tiger's on the prowl, but will he have enough? King b6 threatens mate, but this is perhaps more accurate. King c7. Wow. And there's no way to stop rook a3. What impressive technique right there. So difficult to expose the king in the corner and target the bishop on the side of the board. Just well timed there. Attacked the bishop and threatened mate, everybody. That's what the whole point of king to c7 and rook g3 was. There's no way to stop rook a3. Black could actually just resign now. And GK Chess Tiger will be joining the leaders with a perfect 2 of 2 score after Rakul throws in the towel here. Playing it out to mate for the fans. Interesting point from Pair-Off Drinker. Well, first I appreciate the the compliment, I guess. I wouldn't necessarily deny that that's not true. I don't know. I have a lot on my plate, unfortunately. I know you guys are like, yeah, we don't want to hear it, but obviously, honestly, I would love to stream and do shows 24/7, but you can't always. And appreciate the observation. But all right, we are here to cover these chess games. We know that Fedoseev just ended his game in a draw. So I guess let's keep the standings up, shall we? Keep the standings up. Take a look at Grandmaster Krigor's game. I'm pretty sure that Krigor is actually streaming as he plays right now. If you don't know that Krigor has a channel where he actually does a mix of both Portuguese chess commentary as well as English chess commentary. So if you're into that sort of thing, search the chess directory right now on Twitch and follow and maybe even subscribe to Krigor's channel. We love all the work that he does. Very nice draw here too, by the way. Unfortunately for Krigor, because he would like there to be some way to break through the blockade, but the point is pretty obvious, right? If white ever pushes the pawn, black is going to capture and simplify into the drawn ending. So yeah, interesting stuff there. I think this one will just end in a draw. This will be the one that's holding us all up, actually, in regards to the standings becoming final. And we can see the standings there. We can see the chat there. Actually, we'll let it finish out. Not sure exactly how Krigor is going to try to come up with a creative way to get him to blunder. There he goes. Looks for the mouse slip. The draw offer by agreement. And with that, we have the next round going to be set to begin. And it's underway. No rest for the weary. I'm not going to sit here and look at the standings if the games are underway, because we have some chess to analyze. So let's go ahead and do that. First, let's keep following Nepomniachtchi. He was one of the top players we started with. Here he has the black pieces facing an English. Danya Naroditsky hasn't been given too much love by us. Danya, one of those, he lost his first game, though. Interesting. I followed him. Danya, one of the better blitz and bullet players, I think. One of the more underrated blitz and bullet players on our site, in my humble opinion. Okay, Zavine is still 2-0. Andreasyan. So we'll keep an eye on him. Dmitry Andreikin, always a boatload of fun. Here playing the black pieces. And then, of course, we have MVL. Ooh. This is interesting. What happened in this one? Let's bring up the analysis board. I want to see it. Okay, that's why I was trying to guess the opening. I thought Lopez or something, and we have a Rossalimo Sicilian. And after c3, bishop c4, you induce b5. That's actually an interesting point. It's kind of a general basic for the fact that we're covering a game by, what is he, the number 4 player in the world, MVL. But it is an interesting point that I think some players struggle to understand. Why do you even offer the opportunity to lose a tempo at times? But you see that white immediately recoups to strike with the move a4. And, you get these types of openings where one side has moved a lot more pawns than his opponent. And unfortunately, that can become sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now you've moved them, now you need to defend them and move them further as he plays with b4, and now MVL opens up the position with d4. So a lot of moves on the queen side leave the king potentially under fire, and sometimes pawns are targets when you allow them to push and attack your minor pieces. So tempi is something I think people understand first in chess, because they recognize, oh, my piece is worth more, right? The first thing you learn is value. My bishop is worth more than the pawn. I don't want him to attack me. But recognizing the opportunity to take advantage of long-term weaknesses, and that losing a tempo, as long as it doesn't lead to a big attack, is not the end of the world. That's good stuff. Here MVL allows this whole double pawn thing, because he's going to end up winning some sort of material in the center. I think that knight has kind of gone a little too far away from home, and without a light squared bishop or immediate access over here to the king side, the white king is not really feeling the breeze yet. And that's an instructive takeaway as well. One thing that's interesting to me is that Maxime just played knight c4, and he's giving up the e-pawn. That makes me nervous at first sight, because I'm thinking I don't want the position to open up when my king is in more danger than the opponent's king, and that is a takeaway you can put in your pocket and use for yourself, right? You don't want the position to open up when you believe your king will be the one that's more open or under more fire, right? But in this case, I think the tactics is that white would be able to take here, and or actually even just take d4 immediately. I said take first, but here white can take and then just win the piece. So if there's not really a threat for black to open the center, then knight c4 was a good move, and you could see that it actually put black into a think before he came up with knight d7. Now he's able to trade, and I'm expecting Maxime might even just take again, right? Knight takes e5, knight takes e5, bishop takes d4. Rock my world, little country girl? I don't know. Has anybody ever said rock my world, little country girl with a question mark on the end? Rock my world? That's a country song, by the way, for those who found that somehow inappropriate. If you found that inappropriate, you might need to turn away now. The stream's just getting started. And, okay. Bishop h3, interesting. Technique, huh? He's just being patient. Again, I feel like I learned so much because I would have gone for the tactics immediately. But bishop h3, because if he takes on d7 next move, let's say black does something, now he's able to take on e5 with tempo and just win the piece flat out. So just continues to put black in all kinds of trouble. And I guess the question is whether he'll lose his chance to take e5, okay, or bishop f6. But white's still holding all the cards. At some point, you just look at the tension here, you know it's going to break. Will MVL choose to take on d4 and then punch e5 through? Will he play f4, continue to try to undermine the key piece that's sort of protecting black's entire position here? So those are the two candidate moves that immediately come to my mind. Whether I would take, okay, he's going to go for it. He's going to take, and I believe he'll follow with e5 immediately. I'm not sure whether he goes all in with e6 or d6 yet, or he just gobbles d4. I'm guessing he'll just take d4 and continue to show us that good Frenchman technique, right? Queen g5 check would be the only reason why you would want to play something else like f4, but I'm not sure that queen g5 check is a real problem, is it? Just put the king here, and then you could have f4 in a minute, plus the knight's hanging in a lot of these lines, so yeah. Okay, Maxime has just moved, I see on the main board. He agrees, queen takes d4. So MVL looks to be in decent shape. Wouldn't it be funny if Maxime goes on to win? For those of you who've been here for the entire show, thank you. Thank you for your viewership, your support. But you know that I literally told Maxime 3 minutes before the event was starting, hey, did you know there's a Title Tuesday today? No, I didn't, but I guess I'll play now. And then he signed up. Classic. Classic. Desert Storm Carl says TMI Danny. I'm not sure what exactly the TMI is, but I do appreciate that, I think. I don't know. Wait, TMI doesn't mean, it doesn't mean something good? I always get confused, like WTF, why the face, that kind of thing, and my favorite. All right, okay, black is getting a little bit of counterplay here, but we expect Maxime to be able to hold on. This D pawn is just too strong. Nice move, rook c1. You simplify your control over the only open file. Note that black can't even challenge it because the knight does the job of making sure that file will belong to white. And one funny thing just to point out is if black does nothing, white has d6, and then rook c7 would have trapped the queen. So, okay, I think he saw that. He decides to set up a cheapo, which is to give check and win the rook. Maxime takes care of two problems at one, protects e5, and removes the rook from this double attack. No fork for you. No fork for you. Queen g5. I told you we need an emote. We have the fork emote, right, which is fun to use, but we need an emote with like a fork and like a no sign over it, or something that's like a failed fork fail, because that would be an emote that I would use a lot because I'm often failing at forking, if you know what I mean. Queen to e4. Yeah, I love it. Get the queens off the board. Simplify the fact that the only real potential weakness for you is the king here. And now if he trades, the d pawn will run. So good technique being shown by the Frenchman as we currently stand. I am Voja. Shout out to International Master Voja hanging out in the Chess.com TV chat. Watch Voja's stream. Hope that everybody will support his channel as well. All right, just good technique right now. What other games are still going? I'm going to try to go find that out while you guys all kind of sit here. There's a couple other games still in progress. Many games. Nice move. E6. Here comes E7 and knight C7, and Bob's your uncle. He resigns. Okay, well, the other top player we've been following from the beginning, we'll tune into that one, of course. Nepomniachtchi has not taken care of business yet, and will he take care of business? He's on the grind, but isn't he down a rook? What? That's where you look at those positions and go, what happened here? He's got 42 seconds. So we're going to back up the analysis board. There's not a lot of time, though, so I recommend everybody keep their eyes peeled on the left side of the screen to the main board. But what happened here? He sacrificed the rook on e3? Why? There's no way this is a winning mating net. Am I just like completely... I mean, it makes you think it was a mouse slip. No way. Yeah, John Bartholomew also playing, also streaming, for those of you who are looking to do it. Hope that we don't get too many more trollers just to get some sort of profanity on stream. Apologies in advance for those of you who have to deal with that. Yeah, John Bartholomew streaming, Grandmaster Creeker, as I said, Hammer, the Chess Bras, of course. All 3,000 of you who are tuned in here to Twitch TV/chess, we appreciate it. And consider giving us a sub. Thanks to all of our premium members who support chess events with your love, and appreciate it. Danny, they say Danny never wins versus Chess Bra. What are you talking about? All right. Well, something really. I am just shocked right now that Nepo found a way to win this attack, because this is just. Why? Why not just rook e1? What am I missing? Oh, I guess it was more dangerous than I thought. If rook e1, there was bishop takes f3. This could be the game of the tournament so far. Not just because it made me look like a total idiot, but can we just back up real quick here on the main board? I'm going to hustle and put my hustle shoes on and see if we can see what Nepomniachtchi just did from start to finish, because I know the next round of games is getting set to start. Okay, we have a traditional, nothing fancy in e5 English. We have a hanging pawn structure, right? Which means that black has the bishop pair, but in return, white has some positional advantages over here. And it looks like white was doing well on the positional grind here. You bring the knight to c5, just sort of sit tight. But it shows you the dynamic potential, the dynamic danger of the bishops, right? I mean, it's a lot harder to keep a position closed than it is for tactics to eventually happen, right? Tactics happen. Put it on a bumper sticker. Whether you like it or not, eventually, especially under time pressure in practical games. So, just interesting that even with the positional grind, I would have preferred white here for some time, to be totally honest. And I'm not going to sit here and try to dissect where white could have done better. I might have tried to get the bishops off the board, though. I will say that. If I was white, I would have tried harder to trade off the light square bishops. Often you can trade off the bishop that's the color you still have to try to take away the potential dynamo of the two bishops, right? Just get the bishop off the board of the color you have and allow yourself to play a knight versus solo bishop and maybe a positional chess adventure, right? Try to outplay them that way. So he doesn't do that. That is one form of criticism I'll give white. But still, I'm just shocked that this rook sack worked. I mean, is this for real? How does rook takes e3? So he's attacking. So is this the best move? Maybe rook e2, but then there would have been bishop g4. If rook e2, bishop g4, rook e1, bishop h3, maybe? I just don't buy it. I feel like if I really turned on an engine here, which don't have the time or the discipline to figure out the real answer. But I will say I'm obviously wrong that there was more potential than I first thought, because there's a lot of moves. One way to know if an attack is going to work for you, pro tip for all players out there, is when you start calculating lines, and at first you're sort of skeptical, there's no way I could sack this rook, but you start realizing in a lot of lines that they're running out of moves. You're like, well, he can't play rook e2 to defend the pawn because bishop takes f3. Can't play rook e1 because bishop takes f3, and then if the rook takes, I'd win the rook. So how does he defend the pawn? Well, if he comes back with the queen, that's fine, but then I'll just get the other rook involved. And whenever you're calculating an attack and you find that your options are increasing while your opponent's options are decreasing, even if you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, that sometimes is like a telling factor that that you might be able to justify this move. Because if you find that your opportunities to attack, your opportunities for the initiative are increasing with a sacrifice, the chess gods gave us peace values to tell us what our opportunities are, really. So if your opportunities are increasing, even if you're down material, you can still do the sacrifice, right? I sometimes frighten children. I smell bad. I am the chess Matt Foley. I live in a van down by the river. Just fascinating that he was able to pull off this attack. And then he wins with rookie 1 check. So, okay, Leon B seems to be in big time form today. So let's check out the standings again. Leon B seems to be in good form. Obviously, Nepomniachtchi. We've already talked about this. No games have started yet, so I don't think I need to get too worried. The next round has not started, right? I don't believe. No, there's still a few games going, that's why. But, yeah, so Nepomniachtchi, Leon Beast, we see there Gatakomsky Tiger right there at the top. Shout out to everybody hanging with us, following both the Chess.com TV and Twitch TV chats. Appreciate the love and support. If you've tuned in for chess on a Tuesday, then you've joined about 3,000 other people for maybe the best Tuesday afternoon of your life. I don't know. That pushing it? Maybe. Okay. What's going on here? That's not the games that's still going. This is the game that's still going. Fableeby. I feel like he did that like just so I would say Fableeby. Saying Danny got carried away. Did I get carried away? What did I get carried away in? Harstar says it's one of the best rook and pawn sacks I've ever seen. Yeah, it was. It was nice, actually. Yeah. It was very nice. I agree. Hello, it is I, Uncle Sasha. Does your wife... I mean, so first of all, this shirt was not as tight as it looks because I have my Twitch partner shirt under it. Sometimes I like to wear my Twitch partner shirt, which is fun. And then I realized I had my Armenia coffee mug. Okay. This is the first stream I've hosted since the Pro Chess League finals. And so I threw this on over. Makes me look a little more buff than I actually am. You know, not many people make ugly and chubby look as good as I do. I will say that. Okay. Ugly and chubby, you've met your match. All right. Well, this one's going to be a draw. Nothing too spectacular to it. There is still one game going, which we shall bring up now. The game between Mikhail Bryakin versus Coleman. Ooh, this is an interesting king pawn ending. Let's do it. Rush it. Rush it, baby girl. Push him, baby. Can you do it? No, you can't. If king in, king f7, king c7, c5, king takes b7, c4, king takes a6, c3, king b7, c2. White would actually lose in some of those endgames. If you want me to show you what I'm talking about over here on the analysis board. Right, I've got a little bit of time here to show you what I'm talking about, right? Let's do it. It's like, oh yeah, right. Let's do some analysis here. Okay, so it ended up being a draw, but I wanted to show you a fun reason why you don't get too jiggy with this. Because if king f7, okay, even if you get to d6 here, right? King d6, king f7 here. Eventually, the reason why you lose in this and you don't even draw, despite the fact that it's a corner pawn, is the fact that you actually have this extra f-pawn means you're losing. Because now, and this is a very instructive trick, get out your notebooks, everybody, because the fastest way to win this is, so you get your queen up into the corner, where normally, with a corner pawn, white has the luxury in this position, after check, of stalemating himself, right? Now, that would work, especially as long as the pawn is here. Actually, wait. No. Yes? Okay, it would still be... This is one of those awesome draws here because this is a... No. No. Okay, no, it's not. No. Okay, here's how you win. I think you can give him the move. No, this is actually tricky. See, normally you would go here, and with the extra pawn, it's a disadvantage because they have to move the pawn, and then you checkmate them. That's the instructive trick I was trying to give you. But in that specific position, the king was on a bad square. So black actually wouldn't want to push the pawn unless the white pawn had a move. Man, I'm actually enjoying chess today. So before I got to bring up Coleman. No, that wasn't him. Shout out to Waxadoyo for subscribing via Twitch Prime. What was that game I was just going over? What was his username? There it is. Haha. Took me a second, but I used the... So I'm actually really fascinated by this. Was there an opportunity... First of all, how did Black even get into that situation? Up a piece? Wow. Okay. But, and then how did... Was White... So, White got here. It seems like it was misplayed here. Because if you can move the king and take opposition, if the king moves now, you grab the square that he gives up and the pawn rushes. So White wins, right? And if c5, now maybe you're in a position where you can give up the f-pawn unless he looks like he gets back in time. So still draw. Okay, very nice. Maybe it is draw the whole time. Hello, Uncle Sasha. Welcome to the show. Okay, very nice. We have king and pawn ending, the kind that KGB loves. All right, so f6 was played. So I guess the idea I was trying to show that there's a risk of losing maybe leads to a really unique draw based on the end of that line I was looking at. But if there was some way for White... Yeah, no, nothing to it, just a draw. Okay. Diversion complete. I appreciate everybody for humoring me to figure out. So what was the instructive lesson? Okay, so regardless of the fact that it wasn't exactly clean, I do want to show what if Black went here. For example, setting up a trap for White. This would be a fun line. And now when the king moves, you go here. Kind of baiting him into thinking that he could get away with this. This was the line I wanted to show that was fun, because this is an instructive takeaway to understand that sometimes, we get these types of endgames and we're obsessed. I've seen people mess these up because they're obsessed with the extra pawn instead of realizing it's a disadvantage if you have it. In this case, because eventually you get them stalemated, force the pawn to push, and deliver checkmate. That was all I was trying to show when I went down the rabbit hole of realizing I had misevaluated the endgame. But on the main board at the biggest title Tuesday ever, for everybody who's here, thank you so much for being here. $5,000 in cash prizes on the line, as well as extra prizes for all those streaming. If you haven't followed all the different chess channels, you should on Twitch. Every chess channel deserves your follow. But we are analyzing games of the top players currently. Here we've got Nepomniachtchi, who looks to be involved in a... Wow, this is a big one against Shimonov here, right? This is Shimonov, one of the top performers in this year's Pro Chess League, one of the more underrated grandmasters who really led his team to a lot of big victories this year. Played for the Webster Windmills. So Nepo looks like he's better with White, but this D pawn is such a monster. I want to say White's better based on the fact that he should be able to corral it, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Shimonov has enough pressure. He's also up on time, so that's slightly telling. We'll keep our eye on this one. Another game going down between two players who were in the Pro Chess League finals in San Francisco and actually played each other, Zavine Andreassian and Swears. Wait, they didn't play each other because... No, they did. Yeah, Swears, they did play each other. So a bit of a rematch there. The big one, though, has got to be right here. Look at this. We got Grandmaster Maxime Vachier-Lagrave under the gun against Dewey 89. 2 pieces for the rook for MVL, but whoa, he blunders bishop takes c1. Oh my gosh, right as we went to it. Oh, that game was won by Black? The analysis. Let's go back to the analysis with chat. Leon Beast just won by resignation. That's honestly an early resignation, despite losing the piece there. There was actually still a lot of time, especially given that MVL only had 53 seconds. But okay, we will let that be as it is, and let Zavine Andreassian convert on a massive time advantage here against Dariusz Fierce. But in this one over here on the analysis board, black won, you say? Yeah, I guess because white eventually just played like an idiot, giving up opposition. So it doesn't really change the fact that this was a draw. White just sits tight, and black sits tight, and there's nothing to it. I didn't go on further to see that white, trying to flag black, apparently got his king in a completely horrible position. That this might have been the worst king and pawn ending of all time. I'll be honest. This was a very, very bad king and pawn ending. So you're right. You're right. Black did win, but I'm not surprised. Shout out to Chess Nerdbird, another great chess channel to subscribe. Why aren't you streaming today, David? If you're streaming today, we got prizes even for non-title players as long as they stream, man. Shame on you. All right. Well, let's keep our eye on this game with the analysis board up as well, as Andreassian, just a massive time advantage. It's fascinating when you see players, both of strong grandmaster strength, one just be so much stronger than the other as far as blitz is concerned, based on the time advantage that black has here. Liam Shez says he can't wait for Nepo versus MBL. It'll probably happen today. They both seem to be in really good form. All right. Well, good technique in addition to being up on time. The G-pawn falls, E4 is falling with it, and Andreassian is, well, he's currently defending the title, right? For those of you who followed the Title Tuesday earlier this month, you know that Andreassian took home the top prize. So he's enjoying himself some games on Chess.com these days, winning $20,000 in the Pro Chess League, hashtag NBD. All right, knight takes c3 is check, but it's a fork. Look at that trap right there, everybody. That is some fun times. Knight takes here would have allowed a nice little tricky poo. So Andreassian doesn't fall for that. Just going to push the G-pawn for some good old-fashioned family fun right there. And should be a pretty easy one to convert. So let's... Chess Nerdbird, good to know. Good to know. Hey, I'm here to shame you anytime, buddy. Anytime. All right, well, in regards to the standings here, we can see that nobody has actually finished their game amongst the top players here, so still a lot of players on 3 out of 3. Which is, it feels like that needs to be updated, right? Because I'm pretty sure that's not the case, right? We already know that MBL won his game. So let's see who else is playing. Okay, this one looks like it's going to be a fun finish. Here we've got Andreykin versus Zapata. How's Andreykin going to get this one? How's Andreykin going to get this one? To the analysis board we go. Okay, once he sits with the rook here, this rook can come up, and then the king can come behind it. Yeah, so it's lost. He can play king d2 or rook up first, and then the whole point, everybody, is white will have a way to bring the king in and still keep sufficient protection on this pawn. Rook e2 is a nice way to do it too. The king can even come to e1 eventually. And this rook guards this. Oh, all right, but he's defending. Defending well. I would like to find a way to get a second target. That's how you win these endgames, but not the easiest thing to do right now. I'm not sure I agree with this king d3 approach. I think he should have gone with the king e1 idea and tried to grab the f-file, as I've been saying. But okay, I guess that white is still sort of sitting tight. Here's my idea that he doesn't seem to be aware of. So let's say in this position, I go for king e1, okay? If you continue to sit on the f-file, I'll offer the trade here and then make a waiting move, I think. Or no, I'll just make a waiting move with this one so I can play here. Like now here's the point. You can't sit on the f-file and guard the e-pawn at the same time. If you go here, can I offer a trade and try to come in? I don't know. And if you move off the f-file, can I come up? You know, again, I'm going to come over like this. Eventually offer a trade on the g-file. Maybe there's no reason why I still can't make progress. Huh. Harder for Andreykin to win this than I realized. Looks like he's going to end in a draw. Indeed, they do. Big upset there for Zapata. Charles taking home the big upset. We've got this game getting under some serious time pressure here between Danya Naroditsky. Again, Danya lost early. It seems to be a regular thing for him. Like he goes down early in these Title Tuesdays and sometimes works his way back to the top, sometimes doesn't. But maybe we need to have a little pep talk with Daniel Naroditsky about his early performance, his early starts. Okay, here he's under a lot of pressure. The more active king, I think, saves black's drawing chances here, but that f-pawn is muy strong. Muy strong. Okay, well, the funny thing is, don't count out black winning this game due to some crazy time scramble swindle. Would be pretty funny if white found some sort of way to lose this game. King d4, that was a nice move. Taking advantage of the trick, everybody. Black can't take here because of discovered check, followed by winning the rook. Danya goes down. And another one bites the dust. Bump, bump, bump. Another one bites the dust. And another one does. And another one does. Another one bites the dust. All right. Well, we've got... there aren't too many games left going here. Here we go. Here's one that should end. Should end quickly. Another draw. Shouting out to the chat. Thanks to everybody who's here. What's up, Udai444? If you're just joining us via the Twitch homepage, this is the biggest ever of the monthly cash tournament that we do regularly on Chess.com. It's our highest attended one ever, actually, despite the absence of some of the world's elite who played previously. Guys like Caruana, Nakamura, they've all played recently. But still several in the top 20 here. And the event is just getting going. Udai444, I love you too. I love you too. I don't even know why, but we do. We love each other. Love, 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 love. And, all right. Well, this one's going to be a draw. And the next game should be underway shortly. As they finish here, let's take a look at the standings. Still a number of non-super grandmasters on 4 out of 4. That's pretty normal. You've got Leon Beast. You've got Sergio Gregorians. You got Francisco Vallejo Pons. Is Vallejo streaming? He might be streaming. How did this game even get to this point where somehow black is winning? What in the world happened here? I'm zoning out here, checking in on chat, saying hi to people. It's just fascinating what just happened there. All right, we're gonna have to bring that up. But I've gone down the distracted road several times. It looks like the next set of games is underway officially. Savine Andreassian taking on Shimonov, who must have beaten Nepomniachtchi, right? We didn't follow that one. We didn't follow that one closely enough. But yeah, I mean, Shimonov was on the grind, and he took down. Took him down. All right. Well, we've got Andreasen taking on Shimonov. I think this is probably one of the places to be, honestly. Let's keep an eye on it. Andreasen plays this King's Indian attack like nobody's business. I mean, plays these positions. One of the advantages is, of course, of a system in rapid chess is you're able to play so many more moves just based on previous experiences and intuition. And if that's the case, you gain time on the clock. And objectively, is a King's Indian attack against good preparation by black something you're going to see at the highest levels? No. I mean, because white, I think the system is pretty simple for black. Black is equalized early. You've got the bishop outside the pawn chain. He can play e5 if he wants to put the kibosh on, and he does it. I think that's the right move by Shimonov. The reason why is not just because it prepares ideas like knight f8, knight e6, and using the dark squares yourself, but actually because it prevents white from playing e5 and then the knight coming to e4 and all the, the ways for white to try to relocate the pieces for a kingside attack. I just realized I'm analyzing on the main board with the clock. I'll let you think about that, and I'll analyze over here on the analysis board. My bad. So again, black's position is totally solid, but white knows the position well. Andreassian has played this many times. Again, as a rapid and blitz player, you even heard compliments coming out of the mouth of Hikaru Nakamura. Sometimes that can be a little rare. I don't know. I'm just saying. Hikaru tells it like he sees it, and when he says that Andreassian is a very good rapid and blitz player, he means it. So yeah, good stuff. And look how quickly he plays these positions. He's already up 20 seconds on time. He's going to bring the knight to f5. Maybe he'll play bishop f3 here first. That's an interesting idea. Okay, he goes knight f5. I think bishop f3 was a candidate move as well. But again, Andreassian is trying to prime the pieces. You're priming them right now. Always put a good primer on before a heavy coat of paint. Priming them for an attack on the king side. Don't get too frisky over here on the G spot. I know what you're thinking, all right? There's a sack on G7. Not yet, all right? If you sack and I take everything, you got nothing to follow up. So before you think that all roads over there lead to a good attack, not yet. But Andreassian is going into a think here, because one of the issues is if he doesn't go for that attack, he's got to trade off pieces. And that means that chances of minor pieces all coming together for something later on the G file is less. So okay. There will be speed chess qualifiers this year. Steve is 5. Not next month. Different format, kind of a shorter schedule this year, kind of being based around the World Championship and some other events. But it will, still be the heavyweight boxing match of online chess. The World Championship of speed chess in many ways. I would consider the Pro Chess League is like kind of the Super Bowl because it's a team event, right? The Speed Chess Championship is a little more of the, the World Championship or the one-on-one, mano-y-mano. Well played right now, but I keep looking. Wow. They just take a draw? That's kind of lame. I'm not sure if these guys know each other or they just weren't interested in fighting out the position. I'm surprised by that result so early in the tournament. That could hurt both their chances, to be honest. So this is on Draken's game I'm checking in with. I guess, MVL should be the one getting a little more love here. We haven't talked too much about him in the last couple rounds just because we got distracted. Sorry about that, Maxime. We got distracted. But the lame rigged Yeah, I don't know what Chess.com means by what's rigged, but anyway. All right, interesting here. Okay, this is who's better here? Before I assume MVL, right? Just based on the draw. Yeah, no, you're right, Chess.com. That was lame, super lame. Totally rigged, and I don't understand why they would do that because it's not even a position where they're guaranteeing themselves prize money. It could hurt them in the long run to do that. So as we check in on the standings right away, it doesn't necessarily hurt them. We see them both listed right there at the top, right? Listed right there at the top. But in the long run, that may not be something that continues. You've dropped a draw early in the tournament. Sometimes they call that the Swiss Gambit, though. The ultimate way to victory is what? Win every chess game you play, as the great and late Emery Tate would say. Here we have MVL trying to go to 5 of 5 with the black pieces against Conrad Holt. But sometimes people play the Swiss Gambit strategy where they take a draw earlier because it drops them out of getting paired against the other top GMs as everybody moves to 5 of 5, 6 of 6, whatever, right? That allows them to then play a couple lower rated players again because they drop in terms of score group. So if you've never heard of the term Swiss Gambit, you see that I'm talking about these guys right here with 4.5 out of 5 who took a quick draw. Shimonov and Andreasen, to be specific. That's not just something I made up. The Swiss Gambit is something that is actually employed regularly, where they understand that what they're doing is putting themselves in a better position to only have to play a few of the top GMs by sacrificing that half point, avoiding losses in exchange for a half a point in theory. So that is what the Swiss Gambit is. I'm not a fan of it. I don't approve it because, again, we want to play Hikaru Nakamura chess, right? I win every chess game I play kind of chess. But right now, MVL is not necessarily guaranteed to win. The thing, you look at this position, you look at the clock, and you see a 20-second time advantage for Maxime. But we're going to stay tuned right here because Maxime Vachier-Lagrave is the highest-rated player in the world's top 10, still with the chance to win this tournament. More than a chance, a very good chance. And right now, he's on the grind. I just realized e4 was such a strong move. I didn't realize how great this position was, everybody, if it just stayed tight. Because black is controlling all these squares. The rook can hardly move. The knight can hardly move. You don't want to take on d3 because black takes with the pawn. Now he has to. Black's going to take here. Oh, he takes with the rook. Actually, I didn't realize the e-pawn was stronger than the d-pawn. I was going to say you could take with the pawn, and the knight is still kind of just useless compared to the bishop. But this might be even stronger for Maxime if the e-pawn is rushing faster. One thing to note is that the e-pawn queens on a color that's the same as the bishop you have left. So, interesting little technical point that Maxime can put the bishop on b4 and rush the e-pawn, and perhaps that was part of his evaluation. Looking for some instructive takeaways for all of us here as we try to learn from these top grandmasters. And on that note, we'll keep the analysis board up here and keep talking about it. Conrad, oh, that's a big trouble. Can he do that? He could have taken on d1. Maxime could have taken and played bishop d4, and the knight is trapped, right? But I guess the issue is the king comes in. Okay, so no. So he makes the right decision not to trade, keeping the rook and bishop duo. But how's Maxime making progress now? This was a very, very nice defensive setup by Conrad, given his time. You got to give credit where credit's due, right? Look at, he's got 4 seconds, but he manages to coordinate his pieces correctly. Fascinating. I'm just realizing that I didn't eat lunch and just slammed a cup of coffee. So, I mean, we may love Armenia, but I also love a stabilized blood pressure. So you might have to see Papa Bear throw a little snack town down the old pipe town in the middle of this showtown. All right, rook e2, rook b1. Here comes knight f2. Is he going to trade into the rook ending? No, e3 so he can get king e4. But this is an issue. You don't want your pawn on the same color square as your bishop because it limits the bishop's mobility, right? You want the bishop doing nasty things to the king while also helping the pawn advance. So I think MVL still takes this game because it just seems so tricky for white to hold it. But he's held it so far, and we've seen Conrad down to only a few seconds. So this is exciting. MVL playing to remain the only real super GM undefeated at this point. Doesn't want to trade. He's going to back up. What he wants is a way to break down this blockade on the light square. So he's getting the other pawns involved so that he can take away the f3 square. I like it. Here comes h5. Very nice. Okay, now that he's gotten that knight to back up, he can bring the bishop to c3. And here's the problem. Now he's threatening the rook ending because the king is so dangerous and Conrad loses. Just like that. Puts him in zugzwang. What a nice finish there. He couldn't go into the king and pawn ending, but the rook ending is probably winning as long as he doesn't have to trade rooks. Eventually he'll take here. And what I'm saying by that is this. Okay, he just resigns. That was awesome technique right there, everybody. I almost jumped out of my chair, but I held back for you this time. The point is, this move and this whole idea of driving the g-pawns up the board was really instructive because it created a new avenue in, right? If you were looking at the position here, the reason why he had sort of, hit a roadblock is because Conrad had defended everything on the light squares, essentially making the bishop kind of a useless extra piece here, right? It's not an extra piece, but a useless bystander in terms of breaking down White's light square blockade. So he gets the pawns involved to sort of fix that problem, and in doing so opens up a new avenue. You need a second weakness. Sometimes one advantage like a passed pawn isn't enough. So he creates this new avenue by taking away the f3 square, and now if White had just sat tight, then this was a threat, because taking and going into the rook ending now is a win based on the king being in such a strong position. Obviously, the g-pawn's under fire. You can't move the king because of constant threats of checkmate on the back rank. So this whole idea of creating this f3 square as an open avenue was really why Maxime won this game. And now he puts him in zugzwang. Note that he couldn't go into the rook ending here because he didn't want to go all the way to the king and pawn ending. Although he could have actually traded and played rook d2, and he's probably winning, because even something like this, I'm going to guess, would fail to like a backdoor idea. Maybe not. Okay, maybe not. So yeah, again, so he didn't go to the rook ending, I think, smartly, because you want to be able to go to the rook ending and immediately infiltrate. You can't go to the rook ending now if you're going to have to trade rooks. That was the point. So he smartly sort of sat on the position. He just, he waited on, he sat tight, as I tell my children to do constantly, and they never do. Only eventually making the threat clear to go into the king and pawn ending, as now he's eliminated the outside passed a pawn, so the king and pawn ending is just easily winning. He's just up at healthy e pawn. So wowzers, who's got the clam chowder? Because I am hungry for some chess and some actual food. Slightly hungry, actually. I'm going to move over here, say hi to my buddy, my old friend, my old nemesis, Happy Hikaru. Believe it or not, me and Angry Hikaru get along a little better. As we bring up the main board here. What other games are still going? We'll let these guys take us home here as we sit tight. Got my two buddies, Happy Hikaru and Angry Hikaru. Me and Angry Hikaru get along a little better, believe it or not. Hikaru thought, I'm not playing the title Tuesday today, but he still made an appearance. Come on. He's here in the chat. If you guys have any questions for Happy Hikaru and Angry Hikaru, let me know. I'll read the chat, and I'll ask Happy and Hikaru and Angry Hikaru some questions. So anyway, but I got myself a Cliff Bar. I keep my Cliff Bars right next to Hikaru. He's a snacker. All right. Hikaru's streams are always lit. If you're not following twitch.tv/GMHikaru, you're not following the greatest chess channel of any grandmaster within the top 10. I'm glad to hear that, Flute. I apologize for the unprofessional snackage, but I literally, you guys couldn't see it, I was like shaking. I made a huge, I mistimed my day today. I have to do a better job at eating before these things, because it's 2.5 hours of pure instructive fun for all of you, which I love doing. This is my life passion. I love teaching chess. But yeah, so I did not fully appreciate the risk there, but I am going to fully appreciate Black's ability to win this. Boom! Commentator's curse. Go to the board, and things are underway. DV Razor. Just because I'm eating doesn't mean I'm not a robot. Okay? So, all right, well, we've got a 4.5 battle. From a poetic justice standpoint, everybody, you're rooting for Andreikin here just because Shimonov just took a quick draw, right? We saw Andreikin's draw. He really tried to win a rook ending that he just was unable to do. So as far as poetic justice for fighting chess, we want Shimonov to go down. Let's get some chess bra muscles. We want Andreikin to be strong. If you're a chess bra subscriber, like apparently millions of other people on Twitch, show us your muscles. All right. Okay, well, the Shimonov game we'll keep an eye on. Leon Beast is taking on a FIDE master who's having quite the day right now, 5 of 5. But this should be a fun one. This is going to be one of those that really gets me excited, right? Because MVL is going to go for a massive mating attack here. You've got this huge pawn chain. Look at this. He's putting all of his eggs literally in the mating attack basket. F5, knight h5. I think he's going to absolutely crush this guy, Kenan Garayev, because right now feels like white is way ahead of the game. All right, so Nepomniachtchi, oh no, lost the second game in a row last round. So we stopped following Nepo, apparently for good reason. Again, to Nepo's credit or disclaimer, he joined the tournament right before it started, and he's playing on mobile. I'm not sure he's played many Title Tuesdays on mobile. So okay. All right, who else is at the top of the standings that we can cover here? Let me bring up the standings with the camera here so you guys can choose. We haven't. Okay, let's check on Andreasson's game. Right, he took a draw last round, much to our chagrin. A quick draw, taking on Rafa Nadal now. You guys think Rafa Nadal, the real Rafa Nadal, is an IM? I think that guy's an imposter. Makes me so mad. Makes me mad. All right, who else we got? A national master also hanging in there. Let's bring up this kid's games, see what's going on here. Taking on a grandmaster, and that'll be a fun one to see how he handles this. Looks like he's already blundered though. This is actually a really common trick to be careful about. If I can show you guys. This structure, very dangerous whenever you put the queen on the same battery, the same line as the enemy queen in a Marco Hop structure. Sorry, Maroczy bind, but the knight d5 move is a Marco Hop. And the threat of bringing the knight here and, you know, because the intermezzo is that when the bishop moves, he could have even played here right away. And the point is, no matter what you do, they can take with check and then take back. Now, that wouldn't have worked here for white because at the end of this line, black would have won the e-pawn. But while Just Kid saw that idea, what he missed was that the same trick allowed a different tactical idea where he takes on f6 first and then knight d5. Now he's not playing to win the pawn, he's playing to double the pawns here. And so after king g7 takes f6, he trades on d2, trying to get away with his cake and eat it too, right? Trying to get the piece back and not double his pawns. But knight h5 check comes in, and after white takes back, he is just better in this endgame. Just Kid has drawing chances, but that was a very nice little sequence right there from white. For those of you who are you know, curious about that, maybe you play a Sicilian structure. That was a nice little sequence right there. So yeah, but let's go back to the one that I started with that I'm not going to be able to get enough of this round. That is Leon Beast launching what is going to be an epically sexy attack. And you're thinking, epically sexy, is that a thing? Can you be epically sexy? I think you can be. So, yeah. All right. Whoa. Maxime looks like he blundered. Wow. This guy's defended the attack. Sorry, I was trying to finish my food before I gave my opinion. You're welcome. Now that my blood sugar is coming down to a human level, I can dive into some of this chess analysis with you. But this is a huge win for black, given that he won this pawn, and white has not checkmated him yet, right? Because normally when you see this French structure and white has so much facing the king side, you assume that when you have this type of space advantage facing one direction of the board, that's why you have all these pieces on such great squares, because your pawns lead the way, and squares you control behind your furthest advanced pawns in chess are your space, right? So when you hear that term space in chess, that's what it refers to. The space you control behind your furthest advanced pawns. And you can advance your pawns in front of your minor pieces to do what's called building strength. You advance the pawns, the pieces then get more powerful squares, they get more options, and that's how you build strength in your position, by expanding your space. So you look at this and you just assume that MVL's got a lot cooking here, but this C3 pawn is at the base of this space. The C3 pawn is holding everybody together. You really would like it to be the B2 pawn, but black already took care of that by advancing aggressively early on in trading. So that put MVL in a tough spot where he decided he needed to defend against things on the queen side rather than just buckling down and attacking for checkmate. But in the process, I wonder if he just blundered knight takes a4. Oh wait, he just won a piece. So it was just a sacrifice. Okay. I was going to say, he played, the whole time I'm calculating this, the c-pawn is gone in my mind, and I'm thinking black has made a successful, undermining of white's structure and attack, but he had to sacrifice a piece in order to get it. So, the attack actually did justify itself in the sense that black had to sacrifice in order to slow it down. Now here black is still playing pretty well, given that he's down a piece. But white should be able to convert on this. Plays rook c2, very nice. You wouldn't want to play this rook to c2 because of rook a1. Pinning the bishop, and that would be a problem. So plays the right rook to c2, forces an exchange. Now the d5 pawn's going to fall. Okay, yep, he took it. And white should be able to get both d5 and c4, and as long as he can hold on to e6, it'll be lights out very soon. But the thing is, even if e6 falls, the extra piece should be enough. Yeah, so he takes on c4. I assume black is going to try to take on e6. Black is in a tough position, right? Because you don't want to trade minor pieces, but you can't afford to let white keep two passed pawns on the board. So Maxime is going to get this game. We're going to see an MVL on 6 of 6. When was the last time we saw MVL on 6 of 6? I don't know, but the last time MVL was on my stream, as you see, I got my microphone here. Hey Maxime, how you doing, buddy? Hey Maxime, I didn't know you were going to play so well today. Yes, well, very nice. Whatever. I'm working on my French accent. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave came to play, and he may join us for an interview later on if he continues to do that well. So white did go on to win. Maxime has moved to 6 of 6, and the title Tuesday continues to rage on. The good times are still just beginning, thanks to all 4,300 of you who are with us watching the biggest prize money title Tuesday we've ever had, and with it, some of the best chess, I think. There's been some good games today. That rook takes e3 game by Nepo that we saw earlier, everybody, that just told us that we thought Nepomniachtchi was going to be in super good form today. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to keep it up. But that's one of my favorite. That's probably my favorite game of the day, Nepomniachtchi's win there. And even though at some point my commentary got a little confused there in that last game that MVL won, because I forgot that black had sacrificed a piece, there were still some instructive things to understand that because white's attack was so far ahead, that's what kind of forced black's hand to sacrifice that piece. And, instructive things as far as how to build your attack and still keep an eye on defending the base of your structure, that B2, C3 pawn, that even though black got it, had to give up a piece to do so. So, all right, Andreykin is up a pawn in this ending and has the better minor piece, assuming he can get this bishop in a spot that it really shields out the knight. I was just about to highlight. I highlighted it right as he played it. Such a nice move, because what he does is he says that knight f7 is a waste, because this bishop is guarding all the access points for this knight to get back in the game. Now that he puts the king on the f spot, he's threatening to rush this pawn. He wasn't really threatening to do so before because the knight could get back and try to help the blockade. But now if the knight gets back, he loses the g4 pawn, which is what Andreykin's going to do. Okay, if not now, he'll do it next move. He's going to take g4, and Shimonov is in big trouble. So e4 first, I'm guessing, yeah. Really nice technique, though, here from Andreykin. Looks like I have the analysis board and the main board flipped there. But still, really nice technique by black. Eventually wins on time, but that's just because he was going to win anyway. So, checking back in on the standings, we see Leon Beast sitting there atop the field at 6 of 6. headed for a showdown with Grandmaster Sanyan. Who is this guy? Sanyan Sugurov. Sanyan Sugurov and MVL will be throwing down very shortly. I think one thing that's just instructive, while I have your attention, who am I kidding? I have your attention. I lost your attention 3 years ago, but okay. Or am I projecting my feelings about raising children? I forget. Anyway, this is a very nice example of principle of two weaknesses and the knight not being able to play with the bishop when pawns are on both sides of the board. Even at the risk of losing the h-pawn, it's just too much for white to deal with the b-pawn and keep his entire structure together. So just nice technique, and I really liked seeing this move bishop c7 before rushing the king closer. A very heads-up play, because, again, what you can learn from is a lot of you, if you had this position, come on, admit it, you'd be guilty that you would immediately say, I got to get my king here, and the most important thing is always the king activity, and I need to attack his pawn before he moves the knight. But in doing so, you would actually maybe be risking more of a draw the moment this knight can come back and start to create problems for you. Although I guess king of three might have been winning as well, honestly. Okay, well, still instructive play with the bishop over the knight. What other games are going? Andreasen and Nadal. That game's already over. Here's one that's still going. A whole lot of Xavier Humilde, 1999. Xavier versus Grandmaster Honorwell. Danny's getting old, indolent lad. Thanks for that. Not sure what caused you to say that, but how is John Bartholomew doing this tournament? That's a good question. We'll go ahead and follow Finn's 0905 for future purposes to make sure that when his game starts next, we follow that fan favorite. This is the only game remaining in this 6th round. After this, we move to the 7th round, and the showdowns really get big. So we're not going to pay too much attention to games that don't have Maxime Vachier-Lagrave playing, honestly, as long as he's in the position to potentially go on and win this event. This game, I left the position. My bad. I was analyzing the position instead of moving to the live position. Now I'm on the live position. Sorry about that. All right, a rook and bishop. Rook and bishop versus rook. Always fun. This is the endgame that we all know is much harder to draw than it is to win, even though it is a theoretical draw. Right now, black is on the grind. I guess I'll go ahead and bring this up in the analysis board as well so that we have some opportunities for some instruction because, okay, we may not have a lot of time for instruction because I think black is just winning. Owie. Wait, can he run here? Could he have run? Okay, what if he had played here? Oh, it was just mate and 1. I was looking at bishop f6 check, king h3 attacks the rook. But no, it would just be mate. So, again, here you have it again. We say this a lot on chess shows, chess instructors, chess broadcasters all around the world, always harp on the fact that if you're choosing a practical endgame to try to win, the rook and bishop versus the rook is not a bad choice, especially when your opponent's going to be under time pressure trying to defend. It's not like the rook and knight. Very easy to draw. The knight's limitations of really putting white on the spot. But there is a clear technique that has winning chances if you are playing the rook and bishop versus the rook. So this is something that really challenges your opponent to know the defense. And I'm going to show you really what white probably should have done, maybe just because it's a good educational takeaway. One of the best things to do is once you've established a 3rd rank / 2nd rank defense, just sit tight. Just move the king. I know it's easier to want to give checks when you know that it's a draw, almost like you're frustrated that your opponent is playing for a win, so you're like, I'm going to check you because I'm angry. This should be a draw. You're not giving me my draw. I'll bring up Onawall's games here. and so we can analyze it here and get to the end. Provide you with some instruction as Grandmaster Maxime Vachier-Lagrave and Sanin Sanyan Sigurov and MVL go at it. Ooh, a Najdorf too. That's going to be fun. So I promise I won't spend too much time on this, but I wanted to point out that especially now that I know that White probably had even better drawing chances than before, explains why he lost this game. Psychologically, it's really hard to put up stubborn theoretical draw defense when you feel like you should have already drawn the game, right? It's just hard to pull yourself together, especially in a blitz format where there's no time to sort of emotionally recover. But here's the good point. White actually checks this black king to the improved spot here. Here's the defensive technique I'm going to give you, and if you want more, watch Grandmaster Josh Friedell's videos. We have some videos on Chess.com. There's some other videos explaining really well how to do the defense, the third rank or second rank defense with the king and rook. And at least, if nothing else, you can take this home from this show here, and if you get it, even if you don't have it all worked out, you can hold. So the point is, if you just sit tight, okay, eventually they get something like this. And, you know, it seems really irritating. But the point is, it's actually not so simple for them to constantly make progress here. If they try to bring the king around and then block the third rank, by that time you might flip to the other side. If they play bishop c3, they're not actually threatening to bring the king in, right? So if you can sit with your rook along the third rank, honestly, this is almost always harder for your opponent to figure out than it is if you start giving checks and you force them into a better position. Just a really good practical takeaway. Don't give spike checks. Don't give frustration checks. So even if they figure this out, okay, let me try to do something that allows them a good winning chance. Something like this. Although I may have just given them too good of winning chances, actually. LOL. You're almost drawing still. Yeah, I kind of gave them too good of winning chances. That's not what I was trying to highlight. I was trying to highlight that was bad play by me, but I didn't have to do that. Let me just sit tight. The goal is, what am I trying to show? I'm trying to show that sometimes even a passive situation like this, if you can get your rook to the second rank and offer a rook trade, they don't want to trade, right? And I'm just going to make crazy moves. Ignore the moves. Okay, I'm doing something silly because I want to show something. It's totally silly. All right, I want to show this idea. This is all I was trying to show, is that if you have the second rank idea and they're not mating you, you can check, and if they take it, it's stalemate. All right. We got games to focus on. MVL's playing, right? Morpheus is fighting Neo. We need to focus on the live position and not get too carried away with this instructive analysis. Instructive that's not so instructive. But okay, so here we have a Najdorf. White has already established the knight on d5. Of course, in this pawn structure, that's a big deal. A very, very well outposted pony. It's a Paul Revere, right? Outposted pony. It's a Paul Revere from now on. Just made it up. No? Okay. Yeah, get back to work. Okay, cool. Got it. Yep. Knight on d5 hits the bishop on e7, but you're never going to trade it. Your goal now, as Sigurov goes into a think, in fact, relocates just for a chance to eliminate that knight. Your goal now is, actually, I'm not sure if Maxime is going to let that happen. I wonder if he keeps the knight on the board. Normally that would seem a little counterintuitive, because if they, and he allows it, because if you take it, you are giving up the bishop pair. And I would suspect he might even take with the queen here just to keep the open file and the potential pressure against the d6 pawn. But it's an interesting trade, right? Because you kind of like the knight as the best possible piece to maneuver in and out of these squares constantly, but you also are okay with inviting your opponent to give up the bishop pair. So Sigurov is going to remove, or try to remove, the knight with a fellow pony, right? Remove one knight for another knight rather than give up the bishop pair. But MVL is really in the driver's seat here. Moves like b3 and c4, moves like c3, opening up the idea that knight b4 is an idea at some point. White is in complete control over all the positional weaknesses on the board, right? The light squares, the potential for a pawn majority on the queen side with these three pawns versus these two here. So again, we like MVL's chances in this one. Here he could probably even just sit longer, because even though I highlighted that the knight wants to come and eliminate this guy, you're not really threatening to do so yet, right? If you make some sort of move with the queen and they take with the knight, you're forking them, right? Holy fork, if you know what I'm talking about. So we don't want that kind of fork in our PG show. Bishop G4, F3 or Bishop F3, they're both possible for white to be better, as well as moving the rook. Honestly, they're both possible ideas for white to maintain the edge. The rook moves to E1, yeah. Interesting. He ended up deciding to give up that knight for the dark square bishop. He's starting to value the bishop pair more than that strong knight. White's still in the driver's seat with a number of plans. You can develop the bishop to E3 and maybe head into B6. Slowly try to use your 3-on-2 pawn majority, which is kind of what he's preparing to do here. He plays rook C1 to get behind the pawn. He's going to try to get ideas where eventually these queenside pawns get rolling, and white has the advantage in the endgame. Queen E6 was a nice move. It threatens the move Queen B3, kind of irritating white's queenside here. It also maybe threatens the idea of Bishop H3. So Sagurov is playing the field right now, so to speak. Rook A4, what an instructive move. He's going to rook lift to the B file and hold down the backward weakness on B7. Okay, so Bishop H3 comes in. I was thinking that was an idea for black, because honestly, now that the light square bishop is gone, I feel like he's improved his chances. Sagurov goes into the think tank. The biggest problem for black right now seems to be time pressure, though, because he's defended this worst position pretty well for the last few moves. Overprotecting D6, but also threatening D5. That was a very nice idea. Forced MVL to play C4. If he didn't, black would have played D5 and gotten rid of that big weakness. Okay, but Maxime is sitting tight, slowly working and building up that this weakness on D6 is the final story. But you have to give black credit. Rook C6, now the threat is knight to D7. How will Maxime break through? Right now he's trying to manufacture some queenside pressure, and that's what he's doing. Brings the queen over to the B file. Rook D2, King H7, Queen C3, okay. I like it. I like the technique, but it lacks a real breakthrough. Right now, the biggest breakthrough you expect might come on the clock, which is never something you want. Luckily for these two guys, they're in the driver's seat as far as the tournament goes, right? Even if they draw, they're still guaranteeing a tie for first, but MVL wants to win. He wants a 7-0 start. He's trying to pull a Fabiano, right? Pull a 2014 Singfield Cup. 7 of 7. Now he can even take with the E pawn, and that's what he does. I was going to say, that's why he paused to think, because he chooses to give up the D file pressure for the massive pawn majority that he now has. Even though it doesn't look like it now, eventually this bishop will move, and this pawn majority will get going with B4 and C5, and that's exactly what he's doing. So you have to be careful not to just push carelessly. And he blunders a pawn. Super nice heads-up play. When it's becoming all about the queen side, he catches black sleeping in the blunder, everybody. The move knight f6 allows bishop takes h6 because he overwhelms the g-pawn. All right. Now he's managed to be up a clean pawn and should be able to take his time to eventually kind of work forward this majority. Even with the rooks being traded, I don't think trading the rooks is the best for Sagurov, honestly. Yeah, so that check was just, as we said, a spite check. I've been telling you not to give spite checks. Sagurov needs to listen up. Okay. Eventually, Leon Beast wins on time, and eventually we check back in with the standings on that note and see him sitting there atop the leaderboard with 7 out of 7, which means that his opponent, who was 6 out of 7, Sagurov is now going to have to fight his way back to the top of the field. So really impressive play right now from MVL. Right there near the top is also Akshat Chandra. Amazing. Seems to be a good tournament right now. I'm not sure that that Jan knows that I'm streaming right now. I should tell him that was Nepomniachtchi calling me. Nepo is he streaming? No, he's maybe getting back to his computer, but we'll leave him be. Let me stream, Nepomniachtchi. Appreciate it. All right, Leon Beast still there at the top. Who else is still playing that we can check in with here? Krikor taking on Fedoseev. That's a big one. Oop. Right as I get there, Krikor, the streamer, takes down the 2700 from Russia. So that's a big win there for the Portuguese chess commentator. Big win there. We've still got some other games going. Ooh, fan favorite, right? International master, now grandmaster, Amon Hambleton. The pride of Canada. Or at least he was before he shaved his beard. But doesn't look like he's going to have enough to win this. He'll be lucky if he can actually get a perpetual check here. He's down a piece and probably just hoping for a draw. Is White going to find a way to it? If queen check, then the king comes up. So I don't think he actually has it. Yeah, he knows that that's not the right path to the draw. I don't think Amon's going to be able to get a draw here. I think Black shields from checks and then eventually gets going with g5. The move g5 is on the board. Oh, he missed it. Black missed g5. Wasn't g5 a nice way to punish the pin? Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. But if Black doesn't try to create new targets, the extra piece is useless here, and White would be just as happy with a perpetual at this point. Amon's down a piece. So not really a lot of impressive play at this point from Black. Queen g3, okay, now maybe he's made some progress, but is it enough? I thought maybe queen e5 would have sat tight in a similar way, maybe slightly more efficient way there. But we'll see. Okay. The next round begins. I think we stay focused right here on the game between Akshat Chandra and Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. This is the tournament leader, the only remaining perfect score, 7-0. Taking on the person actually in clear second, right? The only 6.5 out of 7 going into this round was Chandra. So this could be for all the marbles, so to speak. Whoever takes this event, whoever takes this game here, is likely headed toward a first place in Title Tuesday, barring any massive blunders in the final few rounds. All right, another Najdorf. This time, MVL on the black side of it. For those who don't know, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave is a Najdorf specialist, known for his Najdorf, both with white and with black. All right, so we'll keep an eye on this one. You can see the standings there. Shout out me in the chat if you see any games you want to go to besides this one here. All right, let me open up others. Who else do we got here? All right. Got the MVL game up, and this time we'll give the Najdorf more love than it was due last time, where I was focused on the rook and bishop lesson. But okay, so notice one difference in the structure already is we have that trade on d5, but black did it without giving up the light square bishop, right? So if you just talk about similarities to this position, if we're really just trying to learn about this pawn structure here, black has a slightly better version than before based on the fact that he was able to change the structure in the center, get rid of that strong knight without losing the light square bishop. But white's still a little better. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is, white has a 2-on-1 pawn majority and a small development lead. But after MVL castles, the question will be whether he wants to play for f5 and f4, really be aggressive. That would be super risky given that he's already expanded some of the pawns on his king side, like the h-pawn. The g6 pawn will be weak. So I'm expecting black to be a little more patient than that. Rook to b8, doesn't that allow bishop a7? Not sure. I guess the idea is he has knight to c5 then. Okay. So if bishop a7 is played trying to overwhelm the rook, black can play knight c5. And, okay, it not only attacks the queen, but defends the bishop. And I don't think that white would want to give up the bishop pair. Okay, maybe he does want to give up the bishop pair. We're going to find out. Chandra plays bishop a7. That was the first move I saw, but knight c5 is the only way really to deal with it. And the question is, why does Chandra like this position better than... Did MVL blunder rook b8 and he has to play knight c5? Or does Chandra like something about this structure more than MVL does? I think that given that black has the bishop pair, you kind of like that, but this d5 pawn is very strong, and also very passed. Yeah, very passed. Thanks, Captain Obvious. Yeah, it's a very passed pawn, very strong passed pawn. And now with the knight coming in to help, things are going to get really tricky. This is a hard one to imagine black winning right now, honestly. Even if Maxime holds the position, it's a hard one to imagine him winning. He's calculating. What's he calculating? Moves like rook b4 or rook takes b2? No, he plays bishop f5. And he's giving up the c pawn and the a6 pawn. White chooses to take a6, which also threatens the move d6, actually. Queen takes d5 doesn't work because knight to f6 check, discovery. Just winning the queen. Saw a comment on that on chat. Okay, so MVL's willing to trade and head for the obstacle bishop ending. Not your favorite position if you're black, feeling that you're the stronger player. But okay, from the tournament perspective, if MVL draws, he's probably doing okay. The opposite code bishop position suggests we have drawing chances, but white has two passed pawns. And if he can actually, at some point, get the a-pawn really advanced, don't be surprised if he sacrifices that d-pawn just to clear the way and let the a-pawn convert things, right? You want to get some pressure on this a8 square. But Chandra's taking his time, trying to figure out his favorite approach to converting on the two passed pawns. The one thing that is in black's favor right now, of course, is the clock, right? Rook b4, it's a nice move. Maintaining the blockade on the open file. And again, Maxime is playing quickly, hoping to maybe make up for his time loss. But am I spying with my little eye a sacrifice on the g6 pawn? I'm wondering. I think I spied it with my little eye. Yeah, he goes for it. I'm not sure that he has any more than a draw. But from Chandra's perspective, maybe he thinks, all right, I'll take a draw against MVL. The problem is, okay, a draw is one thing against MVL, but it's blitz, right? It's not like you're playing for FIDE points here. And the second thing is that if you were white in the driver's seat there, maybe that wasn't your best approach. But as soon as I spotted it, I just had this feeling he was going to go for it. And he did. So, kind of lame, again, as Chess Bay would say, lame diggity. Is that a thing you say, Chess Bay? Lame diggity dog? Lame diggity town. That's your thing, right? Lame diggity. Anyway, that was a lame decision from my perspective by Chandra. But I guess if you're MVL, you still sit atop the leaderboard, so you're not too heartbroken. Okay, Zavin Andreassian, not too far behind the pack. The hero of Armenia. I have the Eagles shirt on. Of course, I have to be proud and putting lame rigged, not lame diggity. Got it. I remembered the G, right? Diggity, rigged, same thing, right? As long as you know diggity, right? When you work it, then everything's okay, right? No matter who you are, we don't want diggity. So, C6 is played by Zapata. Zapata's had a good tournament today, huh? Zapata has played well. Not sure that White really has the best winning chances here, mainly because I spy this H-pawn. Right? I think that White has the bishop pair. White has the passed A-pawn. So I like Andreassian's chances from that perspective, but hard to imagine lines where I am able to get too jiggy with it without the H-pawn being a problem. Bishop B8 preparing to come to A7, where the bishop both blocks the pawn and targets D4. If the bishop moves, then the bishop comes to A7 anyway. Trying to bring the king over, probably because he doesn't want bishop A7 to be met by bishop B4, hitting the D6 pawn. So that's a good move. But again, despite Andreassian's reputation, and we know he's the stronger player on paper here, again, I'm just spying this H-pawn and feeling like black must have good drawing chances because of it. So, put down the shovel, Danny. That's right. I've been burying myself for years, NJ Greg. I appreciate recognizing it. Hey, you don't make a marriage work for 13 years unless you know how to dig yourself a hole. I'll tell you that. Okay, that's a fact. That was my first marriage joke of the day, right? I haven't done a marriage joke or a dad joke yet. Come on, can I get some love in the chat? Aren't you guys proud of me? I kept, my number one go-to corny marriage, corny dad jokes out of the playbook today. You're lucky. You're welcome. All right. No, but seriously, black is sitting tight. This was a nice maneuver, instructive, when you bring the bishop to this diagonal, where similar to what black was trying to do, where the bishop blockades the pawn physically but targets something with its scope. Here the bishop is targeting d6 but keeping an eye on the h2 square. So if Andreassian goes on to win this, that might be enough. I did already make a joke about my kids. Sorry about that. Hashtag busted. Yeah, but it's still tough right now. Tough to see the win. Tough to see the win for White. He's doing his best. All right, what other games are still going? What other big games are still rolling through this round? Okay. That was Danya Naroditsky's game. Unfortunately. Okay, here we have this one going on. Dariush Sviers. I love saying that. Sviers. I had to go to this one because it looks like we could have a mate and bake real soon. Somebody's king is in trouble, and somebody's queen is happy to see me. Yeah, I guess the black doesn't have any more. Now the queen can just sit on b7. Queen b7 and push. Black can't even take f2. I'm surprised he did that. Because Sviers could actually... Oh, Sviers is black. Okay, the IM is white. Nothing against IMs, right? I am one. But I think that the weaker player being white made more sense. I think queen b7 was actually the much more straightforward win here. Because the point is, black couldn't take. Black couldn't take on... Black couldn't take. Okay, he wins anyway. Doesn't matter. Black couldn't take because of the queen trade, and I apparently couldn't instruct upon the line fast enough. So let's see here. Who else is still going? I guess we go back to Andreassian's game, right? I mean, the game is drawn by agreement. Okay, commentator's curse. Running out of games to look at. Here's a fellow streamer, right? International Master Lawrence Trent. Looks like he's about to do work here. As we take a look at the standings. Is Lawrence able? No, he's not. It's one of those ones where the knight can't. Wait, he did. The knight worked it? I thought it was one of those where the knight was in some sort of weird, odd move. No, there's no way that was the case. Yeah, the knight brings itself to e5, eventually h7 check, and knight delivers the mate. Sometimes there are those really weird and unique zugzwang positions with the corner pawn where the knight is impotent, to give the PG term. Okay, well, we see there at the standings a lot of things will just center around whether MVL, the only Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, continues to do what he came to do, which is win the event. Here we have a couple other games still in progress we're going to bring up. Here's an interesting one. A lot of knight versus bishop themed endgames today, right? Yeah, that was pretty funny. Funky Sharky, I agree. That's one of these draw. Nope, fail. Yep. Claimed draw, fail. Okay, well here, black should have a draw, at least. Can he win? Can black maneuver his knight to a more useful position without giving up the b-pawn? Probably not. What's up, Mikey Slice? How's it going? Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. Looks like this one's going to end in a draw. Take a moment as the final games of round 8 come to an end. Say hi to the chat. I see you, Dragon Mates. Appreciate it. King to c6. And this one's just going to be a draw because the bishop is just going to stay on the diagonal. Danny noticed me. I notice you. All right, well, I don't think there's any other games going here. Did I bring it up? I think this is the last one. It looks like the last one, right? Okay, he does eventually block the bishop from the diagonal. That's the only way you have winning chances in these endgames, is you constantly remaneuver your knight to block the diagonal of the bishop so that you can advance the pawn. But, okay, very nice heads-up play there by white, recognizing he can trade and get the king in front of the pawn. Easy draw. Nice heads-up play. Trying to draw with the bishop for the knight is still a draw, but much easier to go to a well-known king and pawn ending. Why does white know it's an instant draw? Because if you have your king in front of the pawn, you do exactly as white just did. You come straight back. He's going to rinse and repeat. Always come straight back from the pawn. As long as you don't play the only way to lose, which is to go here and give opposition, where now the timing works out to zugzwang, it is always a draw. And you can know that it's a draw the moment you transition and you're able to get your king in front of the pawn. So that's a good basic one for those of you who already know that. A very basic king and pawn ending tip, but an important one really because it's not that the basic king and pawn endings are always that hard to grasp. Once you see it, okay, if I get my king in front of the pawn, I always come straight back and I get opposition. But being able to quickly make the decision, right, to transition from a more complicated endgame and know that you're drawing and not losing. Very often people transition from endgames where they had decent drawing chances into lost king and pawn endings, right? So the main reason why you want to master those is also to be able to make higher level, more efficient, with very little time on the clock decisions in other endgames, not just king and pawn endings. So that's the reason we really want to master that stuff. So, all right, the reason Leon Beast wanted to master chess was pretty much just to win Title Tuesday. I don't think that Maxime Vachier-Lagrave has had a greater goal in his career, right? World champion, win Title Tuesday, right? You know what I'm talking about. All right, okay, this is going to be a fun little Caro-Kann. And what in the world is the move Queen F4? I like the 2 knights. I like it a lot. And then queen of 4. Is that a move? That's a theoretical move in this line? Or was that a mouse slip? I don't understand why queen of 4. What's up, Mike and Harvey? Thanks for that. I appreciate the love. Appreciate the positivity. More videos, more commentary coming your way. I'm really working hard, so I can retire from, emails for Chess.com and only do chess shows and videos, You got to give those trolls something to hate on, And how can they hate on me if I don't try to do chess commentary, right? How is it? It's a lot harder to hate on somebody who doesn't show their face. So, Rook D1 playing for D4 and E5. I'm really trying to learn from this queen of 4 thing. I like it. And I'm wondering what the point is. Okay, now note that D4 is not really a move, I don't think, because black can play bishop takes D4. We'd get a fork, followed by E5. I think, anyway. So he plays E5 first. Now D4 comes, yeah. And do we have a full reorganizing? Things like bishop D3, knight E2, C3. We get a French structure like we talked about before. The problem is that moves like bishop D3 are met by C5. That's the real problem. And black is undermining the D pawn before white has time to get the knight around and play C3. Yeah. So MVL has to take a second to think about this one. He's playing an opponent he definitely respects. That's Sergei Grigorians, for those of you who don't know. And he has qualified to play in the Speed Chess Championship last year. One of the better and more consistent blitz and bullet players on Chess.com. So he knows he's playing a strong grandmaster here. So really trying to think his way through this transition. Black immediately plays C5, which is what we would expect, trying to undermine the pawn chain. And probably Maxime has no choice but to just allow it. He takes. Now I'm guessing he'll develop bishop E3. Okay, maybe not anymore. Now the E5 pawn is hanging, so that's something to worry about. Shout out! Thanks for the subscription, Toxic Poison 16. Appreciate it. Okay, king to H1. Now he still wants bishop E3. I'm thinking. Unless he thinks he can move this bishop. And, yeah, he does. And he wants to go back to the plan of relocating this knight over here to the king side. Right? You want to bring your pieces to the side of the board where you've got pressure and you have the potential for more pressure based on your space, based on the squares available. So that's the basic, the fundamental translation of why he made the move bishop E3. I'm expecting knight E2. I'm surprised it took him so long to play it. My one criticism right now of MVL's game is he's actually down on the clock in a rare setting. So bishop D3 and knight E2 seem to be the right idea. I'm surprised he didn't just play it faster. Maybe because he was worried about F6, I guess. But see, eventually you can go bishop E3 in transition now, because if the pieces come off the board now that black has kind of weakened the dark squares and maybe even with it this E6 pawn, getting the minor pieces off is not the end of the world. Okay, he plays bishop D2. He's coming here. Something about bishop E3 he didn't like. I bet it was knight F5, forcing more trades than he actually wanted to make. He didn't want to give up the light square bishop. Okay, but this is good chess right here. I mean, I'm just engaging and trying to do the best I can to guess moves and maybe think about the instructive whys of when they make those moves. But these are two really good grandmasters going at it. Okay, is that a draw? Did he just get an opportunity for perpetual? Does Maxime really want to put his queen on H2, which would be the only option to avoid the perpetual? Gregorian's now taking his time because he realizes the cards are in his court, right? Or the cards are in his court. He holds all of the trump cards, which used to be a good thing. Yeah, he's taking his time, and I think he is going to decide to settle on the game of tickle. You know what? Not exactly a pickle tickle, but the knight and queen played footsie, get themselves a draw. All right, we'll take it. Moving on and back to the standings, if you don't mind. I'm going to take a look over here and see with that draw. MVL maintains the lead in the event, but there are many other games still going. So let's go to one that seems like it's really heating up. Super exciting here. Andreykin actually looks like he's just about to finish the job. Andreykin hasn't had his best day today, but this looks like it could be a fun little photo finish. Okay, he gets the win. Finns, speaking of somebody who's playing a decent level of chess right now, but under time pressure. Checking in on a game that's not super critical to the standings, as we see there, though. Akshat Chandra did manage to join. Finns, you can do it. Take b6. He's actually making a comeback here under time pressure. Enjoying some of the comments in chat. Positive and negative alike. Looks like Finn's not able to get... Okay, he has rook e3, though. He has rook e3. Come on, find it. Rook e3. No, but now you're just heading into a rook ending where, okay, I guess you're not worse, but almost close to it. Okay, should still get a draw here. Indeed, he takes f5, and the game should be a draw. But not John's best result there. We got other games still going. I think one that's definitely interesting is this one here. Armenia versus Russia. Andreasen versus Oparin Grigori. Andreasen is likely going to peter out to a draw. E7 was sort of a surprising move there, honestly. It doesn't seem like it's the recipe to maintain winning chances by Grigori. Can't black just play bishop b4? Okay, bishop d8. Maybe he's actually bluffing at the idea of playing for a win. Maybe he is. But that's a real problem if you're trying to play for a win. Now he has to settle in for the rook ending, everybody. The trick there was that if you moved, there was knight e6 check coming. So, okay. The transition to the rook ending ensues, and this one's just going to be a draw. Okay. What other games are still rocking and rolling here? A lot of games still going here in this ninth, second to last round right now. Yeah, again, if you're just joining us, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave having quite the day right now, tied atop the leaderboard, even after drawing his last game. And him and Akshat Chandra are both sitting at 8 out of 9 right now. We'll see. But the thing about it is that they've already played each other. So it's an interesting dynamic heading into the last round. They can't battle it out against each other for first. So they'll both get pairings potentially favorable to them, right? Play slightly lower people. We'll see. A lot of money on the line in the next round. So many people streaming, by the way. I slowed down a little bit. My commentary was checking on some stuff, and there we have the Moobot letting you know a lot of people streaming their games while they play. A ton of fun. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in to the official coverage for the event. All right. Who else is still playing? Sanyan Sigurov. Sanyan Sigurov was amongst the leaders until he lost to MVL, but looks like he's about to bounce back because this should be a pretty easily winning rook and pawn ending. Check, put the rook behind the pawn, and okay. Playing a little tickle right now. Same thing, though. He wants to defend the check from behind here. Also trying to get the rook behind the pawn. But now he can... Okay, I think he's missed that he could maybe play king c4 a couple times. All right, he eventually does settle on it. The risk of that was that you couldn't block with the rook because white would have traded and then won the b pawn, and now he wins the c pawn. Black is actually slowly blowing this. Sigurov, I guess I spoke too soon, saying he was on route to winning, and he is still much better, but now white can play rook f3. He's taking his time, not sure why. Why would white just give up that pawn with check for rooks on... That was... He must have not have seen that he could play rook f3. Seriously, right? That makes zero sense. He must have not have seen, unless I missed something in the analysis board here, he must have not have seen that he could have actually played rook f3. Was it that easily winning? If white played rook f3... Okay, takes. Yeah, I mean, black has the extra b pawn, but you figure there's at least more chances at active counterplay. I guess he just didn't think that he could really deal with the outside passer. But, you know, still not the best technique for black, but in the end it worked out. And now that he's got the second rank, this should... Okay, don't mate yourself, Danny. King g4, rook g6, king h3, rook takes h5. Chekalina Lashlamba, going old school with you on a Chekalina Lashlamba reference. Chekalina Lashlamba, most appropriate to use when someone self-mates. Okay, black should still get the victory here. Push a lot of just strange technique. I think all these checks are unnecessary. He needs to put himself in a real position where the b pawn is a threat. Okay, for a second I thought he had blundered away the pawn, but if he can maintain that extra b pawn, still some decent winning chances. Surprising technique, though, honestly. When you have your opponent on the second rank like this, there's no reason for him to help out and simplify the defense. Keep the king in a constant threat of mating nets. Advance your b pawn further. So I don't know. That's questionable to me, and it may actually cost him the win if Sigurov is not able to convert now. Is he just mouse slipping? Shocking. Okay, but still, I mean, there's no way that this is the happiest rook endgame you've ever had, but actually it still worked out. Wow, amazing. Talk about backing your way into a victory. I mean, he ended up finding a way to transition, and white is still lost. White is still lost. I got to back up and see if he was actually lost here. Once he gave this up with king f2, was he actually just lost here? Fascinating. He was maybe actually still just lost. Because if g4, h4 is the move. g5, h3, and black's pawn is way too fast. And indeed, eventually he goes on to win. Amazing. Rook ending where you see that the king position was really the most critical factor. All right, well, critical factors... All of them don't matter anymore because the only game that matters now if you're Maxime Vachier-Lagrave or Akshat Chandra is that you take care of business here and now. And okay, both sides have actually been given a slightly favorable pairing, if I don't say so myself, right? Chandra even more so, getting a lower-rated international master opponent. Maxime Vachier-Lagrave also being given a lower-rated. Actually, no, Maxime Vachier being given a higher-rated opponent, and a grandmaster to go with it. So, look at this really aggressive line. What is going on here? White is all in. This will be an exciting game here. I mean, I know what you're thinking. MVL, right? MVL. What's that? MVL. Come on. MVL. Uh-huh. Okay, well, this is a super aggressive approach from White. Oh my gosh, rook takes h7. He's just crushing him. This must all be some sort of theoretical trap that Maxime fell into. Thank you, Jose Whale. Joseph Whale. Jose Whale. Thank you, Joseph Whale. Appreciate it. Wow. Just crazy. Rook takes h7. The point is, if takes, knight to g5 check, the king moves, and he just takes g4, and it's over. Is this a theoretical trap that Maxime just didn't know? I mean, White is just playing instantly here, right? Like he's been here a million times. Maxime already under the 2-minute mark, or getting there, and just, I mean, this looks pretty awesome. Okay. He gobbles up the e5 pawn. Wow. What a crazy game. Talk about having to earn it. If Maxime somehow comes back and defends off this game, after that move, rook takes h7, what a way to get yourself a Title Tuesday victory. The other game, we'll keep the analysis board focused on MVL. Akshat Chandra currently down on time and actually in a bit of a tough spot. What happened here? Another super aggressive opening. This time a, Gioco Piano / I'm going to play some sort of crazy sacrificial e4 game. He gets the h7 pawn, winning his sacrifice pawn back, and it's not capturable with the king, of course, because we just check with the queen and the rook, and it's over. Not even capturable with the bishop because queen h5 is still lights out. Rook e8. Now, White goes into a bit of a think, but looks like Chandra's in trouble to hold on to his chances at first. I mean, he's about to get mated on the h-file. Knight f6 check and queen h8 is mate. What's going on in MVL's game? You guys have been following it on the analysis board. Okay, down a queen. I'm going to leave the main game up. We got to check over what happened here. Knight g5 came in. Black quickly played bishop e7, which seems to have just been a blunder. Losing the queen, although now he's got some sort of crazy counterplay coming his way. You just don't really buy it. It would be, what a surprising result if both of our tournament leaders on 8 out of 9 heading into the last round lost, right? Right now, MVL is just getting hammered by some sort of theoretical trap that I think he just blundered. What an interesting game. And then Akshat Chandra already under a minute and looks to be in a really tough position to go with it. Okay, wiggling his way out of the attack, impressively wiggling his way out of the attack. Okay. All right, I don't know what game to focus on. Chandra seems like he's defended for now. So let's go back to this, what's turned into an epic queen sacrifice for MVL. Is he really threatening some sort of compensation? You just don't buy it, right? He's got a rook for the queen. Obviously, things didn't go well out of the opening here, if you're in the Frenchman's corner. But now the knight is under attack and the bishop. So he's going to be able to take the knight, I assume. But here comes queen h. Okay, I thought maybe the queen would come this way so that they could meet for a date on h8. But queen takes g4. also has its merits, right? Because if you play bishop f5 or rook e8, white is threatening queen h4, and Bob's your uncle over here on h8. So queen h4 is a problem. The craziest move would be, I was going to say rook takes d6, because if queen takes e4, he has rook d8. Queen take, here he goes. He plays with that. Okay, there's no way black has enough here, but he's trying to create enough counterplay to bluff at the idea that he can hold this endgame. King e3, interesting. He's allowing the endgame, huh? Yeah, MVL's going to go for it because he wins b2. Right? Is he going to take b2 or f2? I assume b2. He's got to go for the c-pawn. And, you know, he's got to be lost. What? He takes f2. Okay. Got to be lost here. The rook is just too much better than the knight. And, you know, we would imagine that, yeah, we imagine he's going down. Down, down, down. The Frenchman's going down. Well, it's still an impressive tournament overall, but I think MVL just played a theoretical opening blunder on his way to giving away his chances at the title Tuesday. What's going on in Akshat Chandra's game? We'll keep the analysis board focused on MVL's game, but Chandra, under serious time pressure, despite having defended the attack, looks to still be in trouble. White patiently builds b3. Yeah, unfortunately, you can see the analysis board. Maxime is on the verge of resigning. A sad finish for everyone's favorite fighting Frenchman. Oh, did Chandra just catch him in a blunder? Oh, there was no queen h5. Sorry, the rook is guarding it. Okay, so Chandra still looks like he's pulling an MVL and also going to lose his last game, which means that if we checked out the standings, we actually have both of our tournament leaders potentially getting leapfrogged here. Sorry, we'll go to this view here where we can see the game. They were both on 8 of 9 coming in. MVL will fall to 8 out of 10. And we already have a win by Sergei Grigorian. So if both of our leaders falter here, our champion from behind could end up being Sergei Grigorian's. Wow. Indeed, MVL did fall eventually, as we can see here in the top analysis board, staying focused on the game with Chandra. White is definitely in the driver's seat, but black has kept this thing murky, and will it pay off? Okay, the threat after rook b6, everybody, is the move rook takes g6. Okay, no. I thought he missed it. Okay, but he didn't. He's actually defending. Chandra is holding his ground, making it tricky, and now there was almost the threat of bishop takes f7, everybody. I think the idea of e3 was that there was something on f7 and the queen is falling at the end of the line. So very sneaky little trick there from Rafa Nadal. But Nadal unable to come up with anything concrete until there. I think that might be enough. Plays rook f6. f7 I think can be taken. With it, the check comes next. Indeed, and I think that both of our tournament leaders are going down in this round. Wow. Shocking. All Chandra needs is a draw to at least get a tie for first, right? But what can white do here? Nadal's taking his time. He can even just move his rook back, I think. Right? Safely get the rook out of harm's way. Yeah, he comes to f2. I agree with this decision from a practical point of view. Just bring the rook back. You have all kinds of checks against the king. So I was saying rook f1, but I think this is fine. And now that you've blockaded, Chandra's just stuck with a naked king. You never want to be stuck with a naked king. Just ask Borat, okay? And that means that white can just push the pawns free, and white is never really in danger because there's always these checks against the king, right? So black does a threat, Black creates some sort of threat, and you can give a check with the queen and then relocate, right? So just really hard to play these positions, not even just under time pressure, but in any game when you're really prevented from getting counterplay because your king is always in danger of being checked. And he's actually making the right decision. A lot of less experienced amateur players would just try to sit there with the king, which is even harder. Just making the decision to just... Whoa. Nadal has almost blown the win. Making the decision to just sit tight was probably more dangerous. And now that actually has paid off big time. King to g3. I thought he had king to g3. But rook d3 just in time by the hair on his chinny chin chin. That is a huge move. Rook d3, if he had allowed king d4, I think black was drawing, but now he can't stop white from coming over and eventually getting out with the king. Wow, you can just play a4. Yeah, and then the rook can come behind. Yeah, okay, he should be winning now. Oh my gosh, what a crazy finish right there. Seriously, he almost blew it. He almost blew it. But it wasn't quite enough for Chandra to complete the comeback. Good defense, though. I mean, honestly, he's got to get some credit for that. Unfortunately, just ask Mike D'Antoni. Offense was better than defense here. Yeah, amazing stuff. Going to be one of the final games that finishes, too, actually. As we move away from the analysis board and bring up the standings, we see that we had 2 players win in their last round, one of them beating MVL, as we saw. The other one, Sergei Grigorians, winning. So we have a tie right there atop of the leaderboard, and Akshat Chandra will be going down right now. So he will also finish on 8 out of 10. And not quite where he wanted to be. Amazing to see both our tournament leaders on 8 out of 10 going into the last round, right? MVL and Akshat Chandra both come up short. So that's tough, right? Sometimes it happens that way. And the last person to join atop the leaderboard was international master Rafa Nadal. Really, really huge day there for the international master. Big, big victories. All right, well... there's got to still be some games going. Let's see who's got 9 games still in progress here. A lot of other people either withdrawn or we just don't have their games up. Let me just see what we can do. Here we go. Here's one. No, this isn't a Title Tuesday game. False alarm. Here we go. Grandmaster Shyam versus Abund. Now, again, this is the one we've said. This should be a much easier draw. It's harder to lose this one, although as I say it, white might be doing just that. No, he's not. Still can just sit tight. This is the now there is this move rook g5 check. Yeah, followed by, if you could just pass in this position, you might be winning, but you can't pass, unfortunately. So much harder to win this one than rook and bishop versus rook. For those of you who've been here for the whole time and you saw my failed attempt to provide some instruction on rook and bishop versus rook earlier, go check out Josh Friedell's videos on Chess.com. He does a very good job of explaining the defensive techniques, honestly. All right, game eventually drawn by agreement. The tournament is eventually over. And with it, we see the final results with some huge wins today by non-super grandmaster players, right? Zapata Charles, Rafa Nadal, Sergei Grigorians, and then not even listed in 4th place, though you can see him over here on the right, is the grandmaster who slayed MVL in the last round. So we see that I registered in the tournament and then withdrew. Somehow that had me tied for 155th place. You do the math on that, I'm not sure. But ignore my result and look at the full standings of everything over here on the right, and we see just what a massive group of super strong players there with 8 out of 10. Just crazy stuff. Wow. Well, this was quite the event. Quite the event. I'm surprised by the result. MVL was 7 out of 7. He was pulling the full Caruana, but you know what they say, never go full Caruana, right? Everyone knows that. You never go full Caruana because then you can't quite, I'm just kidding. I don't know. But MVL had a great tournament, stuttered a little bit down the stretch to finish with 8 out of 10. Several staple names like Sergei Gregorians finished even stronger than he did to get 8.5 out of 10. That's right. Thanks, Floyd Akash. Danny coming through with the big infinity score with 0 out of 0. I'm sure that for those of you who are just getting here, there's going to be plenty of more chess. If you search chess in the directory, I'm looking at the channels I follow right now, and there's a whole lot of chess still going on. A whole lot of chess still going on. We bring up the final standings there before I prepare to kind of say bye to all of y'all. Check in with my team. And we'll see who we kick things over to. But crazy day, lots of fun, big prizes. Glad to see that the biggest event in online chess, the biggest regular event in online chess, our Title Tuesday tournaments, has finally, we seem to have turned the corner on some of the mistakes that we had made in regards to overwhelming ourselves in our own server attacks. And really big shout out again to the whole Chess.com crew that really bunkered down and said we can't have the biggest events and have such a crazy active server and kill ourselves in this way. So a lot of fun. A lot of fun now that these events are happening again. Thanks to all the top players who joined and played. And thanks to Chess Bay, BJH13, all of our moderators, all of our subscribers, all of our premium members. Thank you, Jackie, the Swede. Jackie, appreciate that. Appreciate that. I might kiss you anyway. And there's Artak Manukin hanging out in the Chess TV chat. Shout out to you, manager of the Pro Chess League champion Armenia Eagles. I brought out the big guns just for you today. The Title Tuesday dedicated to the winners of our Super Bowl, the biggest team chess event, the biggest team event in chess, I guess. And all of our followers, everybody, Omega Mania, everybody gets love and appreciation for being here. All right. Well, we're going to bounce out. If you're just tuning in, don't go anywhere. Grandmaster Simon Williams is going to continue streaming for a little bit. He's the Ginger, the GM. I'm Danny, signing off. Thanks for putting up with me today. Hopefully you enjoyed what was an epic to start. More than 370 title players registered, and had a lot of fun. And we'll see you later. Peace out.